swings it. High drive deep to left field. Way back it goes. It's a 2-run home run. Mookie Betts, his 5th home run of the season. And the Dodgers lead it 6-2.
The pitch. Swung on. Driven to left center field and deep. Alfaro throws the bat. It is a home run, walk-off style for Jorge Alfaro. The first pitch he sees deep into the Padres bullpen, and the Padres walk off with a victory, 3-2.
Wow. They're coming down to the wire. At the center's ended. Rich strike is coming up on the inside. Oh, my goodness. The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby. Rich strike has done it.
That call was incredible. First of all, good morning. Sorry, I caught you in mid-drink there.
That's all right. That's all right.
I hope everybody had a good day yesterday with your moms. But what year is this? Because this weekend in sports, which another great weekend in sports, like the headlining sports, among all the ones that you just heard in Shane's montage to kick off the week, horse racing, boxing, and Formula One, the spectacle in Miami that took over the weekend, all of those were front and center. Can you remind me what year it is? Are we having throwback?
It's 2022 still.
Amazing that we have horse racing, boxing, and Formula One among things that are headliners on the weekend. We will get to all of that. But what a day at the Derby on Saturday. And for anybody that, just as a jokey joke bet said 81-1, yeah, I'll throw a couple of bucks down. Or you said, superfecta, let's find 21 who did not even get into the field of 20 until Friday. I'll take 321K. What an upset. One of the greater upsets of all upsets on Saturday afternoon. And then to some, an upset on Saturday night out in Vegas. Think about this. You could have done, I know you went to Kansas City this weekend. We could have done the triple header. We could have gone to Louisville. Mm-hmm. We could have flown to Vegas, and then we could have ended up in Miami yesterday at the Formula One.
Tell you what, I would have skipped the Formula One, but definitely didn't miss what happened with Canelo. It's well documented. I am not really a Canelo fan, so nothing excited me more than to see him get systematically ruined. But horse racing, and everybody says it was a great call, but I was like, okay, he didn't see him coming either.
But once he does,
so like the last 6 seconds, okay, but nobody. Did you see the bobbing and weaving?
Yeah, the overhead camera view
that was
fantastic.
Sick.
But why I say it's a great call is because, first of all, he realizes early on that pace was incredible. I mean, there were horses that they ran out of fuel. I mean, they were flying through the first half mile. But once he realizes that all of a sudden, down the stretch, here comes an 81-1 underdog, then you feel the inflection in his voice that, oh my gosh, this could happen.
Do you know how many people probably had the original, those top two with Epicenter? And I mean,
yeah.
Hey, the box office was getting ready to get smoked without Rich Strike messing up that 1-2-2, however you would have had it, messing up that finish because it was almost too easy. You're like, oh, okay, a lot of people have probably picked this.
And then, you looked at the field and you said, man, there's probably 4 to 5 horses that legitimately could win the Derby. It's wide open. There's no knockdown favorite, but it's wide open. And the Derby produced in a sport that probably needed something like that. Now, how quickly was there a drug test of the horse? But the sport needed like that kind of news for an 81-1 to pull off a victory like it did. And then people could relate to it afterwards because it's trying to bite the other horse. And you've got the guy on the other horse is punching the Kentucky Derby winner in the nose. I mean, what's going on? The post-race behavior. I mean, that's what sports is.
Hey, people, I'm telling you, man, we forgot how to act. It's at an all-time.
Does this
It's at an
also
all-time mess.
does
It's
this also
trickled
include the horse?
Yeah, it's trickled
Rich
into horse
Strike, act
racing.
like you've been there before.
Well, he's probably like, "Hey, man, I'm new to this. I just got here." That's literally what he's saying. I just got here, like a couple Fridays ago. Seriously, like,
Well, he just got into the field on Friday.
it's like, what's going on? It's all right though. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Do we
It's
know
okay.
anybody that went with the joke bet on an 81 to 1?
So my mom said she did her proverbial thing every year where she puts something on every horse.
So she'll be able to buy you lunch next time.
Yeah. Box of Kleenex or something like that.
All right, welcome it, everybody. On this Monday morning as we kick off the week, a week that, welcome to town, boys and girls state soccer is going on. By the end of the week, we'll have baseball in town, and we welcome back warm weather. Welcome to summer. We are having summer today. This is a shorts and flip-flop day.
Hope not.
Maybe shirtless later today, maybe with a golf club in hand. Hot weather is back. It's going to be in the 90s today.
I know.
90s.
I got to
embrace it.
Run to Lincoln real quick, and then I'll settle back in and change and have a regular day. But
you'll be sitting by the pool.
Nah. Hope it doesn't last very long. What's the 5-day forecast?
Well, like tomorrow's going to be like 79, then it'll be back to 90s. For everybody that's put up this crappy springtime weather, we're finally going to get rewarded.
Good. I do see weekends back down into the 70s. That'll be all right. It's Wednesday, Thursday thinking 90s. Come on, man.
I know we went from spring to summer, and then we're going to go back to spring.
Yeah, I need more spring. More spring.
Coming up on the show today, we got a very interesting lineup brought to you by the rooferees of John Higgins Weather Guard. Mike Everett, longtime Major League Baseball umpire who recently retired, and now he is a supervisor. He's going to join us at 8. We got questions. Dan Bellino, by the way, after we were off the air on Friday, apologized for his incident with Madison Bumgarner and worked this past weekend. So,
what do you think he was thinking?
Apologizing or in the moment of massaging the hand of Mad Bum?
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to do. It was more the staring than the massage. I mean, that was buying him some time. He got out of himself because he kept wanting him to make eye contact. So I don't think he was intentionally wanting to massage him. I think he was trying to buy himself some time till he looked at him. And
still very
which is
awkward.
Weird. That's going to be one of those that they may be talking about that one for a while. There's a lot of gifts out there. He's a meme.
So Mike will join us, and in a conversation I had with him last week, he talked about this, but he has a different angle on it from the umpire standpoint. But we're going to ask him a lot of questions, and we'll probably have a little story time because he's been involved in brawls, he's been involved in ejections, and he's been involved in one of the biggest moments in NLCS history. So he'll join us at 8. Scott Chanley stops by at 8:40, and then coming up, Parker Gabriel's, we said goodbye to him, now covering the Broncos. Jimmy Watkins, who we were fortunate enough to have on a couple of weeks ago. Jimmy's now going to be part of our regular rotation. Jimmy, which will cover a couple of things. Jimmy covers Nebraska football and also Nebraska basketball.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Which had some news over the weekend with a guy that both of us like, Cale Jacobson. This preferred walk-on now at Nebraska.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but good on him. If it's the young man or young lady's choice, man, all for it. Go support it. Go get it.
The lineup brought to you by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We will have completed. Now all we need is an NHL official. So we've had Higgy on, we've had Cleat on. So we've covered college basketball, the NFL. We're gonna have Mike Everett on. So we've got Major League Baseball. Now we just need like Don Kaharski on.
Yeah, they've been busy, and so much for that whole made-up thing about the postseason being officiated differently. Holy smokes! If folks just staying in the penalty box. I haven't seen anything. I mean, this is crazy. Just the lack of discipline, and I mean, it is some tomfoolery going on out there. And somebody please tell me what is going on. I said this right after the first game. I'd never seen anything like it between especially a veteran team like Boston. What in the world is going on in the Carolina-Boston series? Are they just like seeing who can go to the penalty box the most? No, you did it last. No, we got you this game. No, we got it covered this game. I mean, you're going to give them 9 cracks at it?
Huh?
They're fortunate they were only good on 2 of them with the power play, but that
There's been some nastiness in that series.
it's
I
like
mean, look at
how about
Bergeron's face.
How about Tampa Bay and Toronto?
Well, Toronto now
and
has
they're lucky Tampa Bay
Hey.
wasn't clicking either. They could have hung a 10.
So Tampa Bay last night has put pressure back on Toronto. I mean, we got 4 series in the
2
NHL
twos.
that are 2-2, and then the
3 of the 4
Avalanche.
tonight can go 2-2.
Yeah, the Avalanche have a chance to sweep 4-0 over Nashville. But Toronto is in the situation where, once again, they're going to have to prove to everyone that they are not like they've been in the past. Because they've played well in their 2 victories. They played poorly in their other 2, and now it's 2-2, and people are thinking the Maple Leafs are going to collapse again.
Yeah, all eyes for me on, the series.
Doesn't
the Caps in Florida?
Doesn't it seem like this has happened the last 3 years?
It's just crazy
with Colorado and for Tampa Bay getting off to the slow start, and then all of a sudden just kind of bringing it in after a couple of games, and with the Avalanche, I think they swept a series. I want to say a couple of years ago in the first, but then they kind of peter out, when the second series comes up. So, I mean, that'll be.
I can't get out of the second round, but they're rolling over Nashville.
Yeah. Colorado, they look tough.
They look tough. I thought we were going to say officiating. We were going to go to Chris Paul.
Well, some of that was on, and I guess in Monty you trust, but talk about rolling the dice in the first half, bringing him back after you sat him with the third foul.
What did we talk about last week about more guys are playing with 3 fouls in the first half?
I didn't
NBA?
understand that. I didn't understand it at all. But I mean, again, we talked about Ja. Luka, you probably already have your mind made up, but man, is he hard to watch. Ooh, my man chirps after every whistle, and they were handing out teas like candy yesterday, especially early. Same. I go back to the Utah Denver series. When I saw that officiating crew, I was like, oh, here we go again. They're not gonna like that guy. And he bangs Luka early with the technical, and I was just like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
There's the other element of that series that it's 2-2, but gosh, going back to Phoenix, and Dallas has won 2 in a row. That is closer than it seems, because in the other series, and granted, I have a personal interest in Miami and Philadelphia. It's 2-2 going back to Miami, but I'm still not threatened. But like Dallas, Phoenix feels a little bit tighter because all of a sudden, Phoenix for 2 games, the offense went south. The bench was, they were very sloppy. But there's a guy in that series that is, I don't know, polarizing is the right word. But boy, you have a love-hate in the NBA if he's not on your team, and Chris Paul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he does great things. He's point guard. He does one of the things that I appreciate. He can get to a spot on that right elbow better than anybody else in the NBA.
That last foul was trash.
That was a horrible call.
That was trash.
I mean, he swipes down on Brunson. They should have just let that go. But he's a guy that is very polarizing. You want to root for him. A guy been in the league a long time. He's come close to win a championship, still hasn't gotten one. And then there's other times you go, man, I don't like that guy. That guy is a jerk. I mean, he should be, president of the jerk store.
How long can Dallas do it with Finney Smith and Nick Lakina? And I mean, come on, man. And you felt like going in, 18 is the magic number for threes for them. And they got it yesterday.
They hit 20.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. So about look at the series, the game that was played right after. It's a make or miss league. Man. I mean, we said, look at the Boston-Milwaukee series where they were awful, both teams behind the arc. It's a make or miss league. When you hit 20, that's tough to overcome.
Is James Harden back? He still looks frumpalicious, but
you know why he's back? Because 21 is back. Back to back.
What's the correlation?
He acts like a different player with Embiid having his back and on the floor.
Oh, man, I don't know.
That whole team is different with
Embiid watched a lot of his circus act. He was cheering him on. Joel is a funny guy, though. I would like to go have a ginger ale with Joel. I mean, he gets to talking, and sometimes I can barely understand him, especially when he just, he loves analogies too. But I'd like to just go. He's be one of those guys, probably top 10 athletes I'd like to go shoot the breeze with. He's a funny cat.
And apparently he's the MVP. The NBA made a mistake on a release.
Yeah. Was it a bigger? Did you catch? Yeah, I don't know if you caught Canelo, but talk about mistakes. He actually thought like the judges miscalculated that fight.
Dude, you got bludgeoned. Here's your mistake. Your mistake is you left 168.
Yeah, he's fighting a natural 75-pounder. That's the problem.
All right, we come back. That fight in Vegas with Alvarez losing for the first time since he lost to Floyd, 13?
Yeah.
Well,
everybody makes an excuse that he was a kid, but whatever.
That has changed the rankings a little bit, and Omaha has entered the chat in boxing. We will get into that.
Can we get to September with a fight date? So,
you want to break some news?
No.
Okay.
No.
I could do September. It has to be
the 24th.
Damn right.
Yeah, the
yes.
weekend after Oklahoma, because that's the bye week, and so we can go to Vegas.
Be nice.
Yeah. You think we'll have front row seats?
I doubt.
You think maybe we sit in the second row?
Are you guys going?
Yeah, probably second.
Yeah, I don't want to have like sweat and spit falling on me.
From what I gather locally, the free world would go.
Wow.
Literally, the free world would go.
Well, the guy that should be waking up this morning as the #1 pound for pound boxer.
You check out his daughter in her track meet at Northwest the other day. She was rolling. Man, comeback kid.
All right, 628. You're always welcome to join the conversation as we kick off the week. We will get to a lost weekend for college baseball around here as well, including, it's ironic, I saw what we're giving away this week. We are giving away tickets to the Big Ten baseball tournament.
Mm.
We may need to give 60,000 free tickets away if Nebraska's not there.
Is it a 3 or a 2-way tie for 8th? 3-way tie, right? For 8th?
There's two teams that are tied for 7th, and then Nebraska's tied for 9th. They're going to need some help.
You sure?
Yeah, I looked it up, man. It's probably the athletic season for the Big Three, and men can't get over soon enough.
I tell you what, got some explaining to do. Baseball would by far be the worst, though.
Yes, not to make a tournament where 8 teams get invited in a down year in the Big Ten when
And
Rutgers is in
you
first.
were supposed to be pretty good.
But they're also a team where they've had a lost season, so to speak, that I don't fear that this is going to be a trend, that next year will be different. All right, 629, 951-1620, the number to always join the conversation. You can email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary Damon at 1620thezone.com, or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620 at Damon Benning. Folks, we've made it. It's Monday, Tuesday. Just got 2 more days to go. I know you're blowing up our Equitable Bank inbox with your dismay of what you hear on this radio station.
Nothing.
Just give us 2 more days. And remember, we have nothing to do with it. Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
for the inside. Oh my goodness! The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby. Rich Strike has done it in a stunning, unbelievable upset.
Fast half mile. Some horses basically ran out of gas. They stopped running. And at the half mile, Rich Strike was 18th. He was in front of two horses.
Yeah.
And he ends up winning at 81-1. For a sport that has faced a lot of criticism, it faces a reckoning later this summer with more regulations and drug testing. But they have a storyline of an 81-1 winner at the Kentucky Derby, the magic of the Kentucky Derby.
I'm waiting for people to chart the actual distance the horse traveled with the weaving.
He was zipping
and zigzagging. I mean, and then to get back to the inside rail, how ballsy was that? My man looked like a running back that saw a crease. When he first went to his right, I was like, "There's no room."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely bunched up. That jockey did a very good job. But it's first time jockey, owner. He was an alternate. Got in on Friday. He was the 21st horse.
Mm-hmm.
They only have 20.
That's why he didn't get along with the other horses. Get off me. Stop messing up my shine.
Man, people can relate to Rich Strike as an underdog that eats other horses and gets annoyed after a victory.
My man just wanted to go have a nice dinner.
What do you think they did? First of all, they had to drug test him.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably happened before he got off the track.
Do they still feed horses apples, or are they past that? Is that just on the small petting farms?
I believe that's when you retire.
Sugar cubes.
But think about, so the winning the Kentucky Derby.
I saw a donkey on the interstate this week too.
Like behind a fence or actually on the interstate?
No, it was in between, right when you get to Atchison County, heading back from KC. There's a little patch of horses, and there was the one random donkey.
Oh, so it was just like in a field. It wasn't like hanging out on the interstate.
He wasn't just chilling, looking for Shrek. No, it was some other horses.
Good on you. The conversation in the car must have been great that you noticed a donkey.
No, I was thoroughly frustrated not getting Zoe to look to her right or to her left. She's going to do her own thing. No, over there. I don't see it. Well, look where my hand is. By then, it was all she wrote.
All right, 6:38. Mike Everett, former Major League umpire, now a supervisor, is going to join us coming up at 8 o'clock. We got Scott Shanley, we got Jimmy Watkins, and we got Cody to kick off the week. Good morning, Cody.
Good morning, gentlemen.
What's up,
We
Cody?
talked about how amazing Saturday was.
It was pretty okay.
We had the Kentucky Derby, which the top angle was my favorite angle of that whole race, like from the drone or whatever, where you see him just weaving.
Yeah.
And then my buddy sends me a video last night, like a close-up. Rich Stripe, every time he'd pass a horse, he would just turn his head and like stare it down and just like make fun of it as he was passing it.
Dude, I wonder what the distance actually traveled was.
Yeah, and then on top of that, went to the Storm Chasers game Saturday night.
Oh, the walk-off
They
grand
scored
slam.
6 runs in the ninth
Yeah.
with a grand slam to win it. It was awesome.
That was a good day for you then.
Oh, it was a great day.
Hey, what's your go-to? Do you eat at Werner?
Yeah.
What's your go-to food choice?
Phillies.
You want to think about that for a second? He's like, Philly.
Oh, they were so good.
Yeah,
You
they
guys
do
gonna
it.
be out at Gretna tomorrow afternoon?
I will. I probably will not.
It's the 100 meters at Gretna tomorrow might be better than the 100 meters at State.
Yeah. So like that, and I'm sure that's obviously with districts going on in track. It's weird that you're picking Gretna or not so much.
Well, I mean, you got Lincoln East, North Platte, Gretna, Creighton Pratt.
Oh, you get a couple of your usual suspects.
Oh, yeah.
North Platte and Gretna.
Yeah. And then you throw in Lincoln East in there.
Yeah.
I got a guy. Or two.
Yeah.
I got a guy throwing the
I'm
shot,
still
putting a
gonna
guy
take my
running.
guy
Yeah,
out
Kapos
in
is.
the 100.
Sam's kind of flying under the radar, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he had a monster week last week.
I mean, the whole diving thing, I think people thought was laughs and giggles, but he's a good athlete. He's a really good athlete.
He's on Nebraska's radar.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, thanks for the phone call.
Yep, I'll talk to you guys later.
Speaking of Gretna.
You see that big guy on the diving board? It's nuts.
Well, remember the reaction when people heard that Kobe Bretz was a really, really good swimmer?
Yeah, he was a fantastic diver too.
Yeah, and they're like, really? Yeah. And he gave it up after his sophomore year, I believe?
Yeah, junior, I think. Yeah.
I mean, big guys, athletic guys dive. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Well, Brett's and Cap, they're vastly different body types.
Okay, one's a safety, the other is a lineman.
I mean, Sam's throwing the air out of that thing in
Hey, he
track
had
and field.
This winter, he had a good visit at Nebraska.
Man, he doesn't get a ton of run.
No, because he's on a team that has internally, yes, a lot of run.
Yeah.
But he will get more as, people know about Malachi. I mean, that's John Gingery and that staff's going to have another great season. People will see him right away. It's just like at Creighton Prep. Well, everybody knows about Sam Sledge. There are a couple other players there that are possibly Group of 5 or Power 5 offers as well.
My man, Sharmar Brown, who is yoked.
He is.
John Pargo, they got some fellas.
Brown doesn't get hurt in the playoffs last year. Prep probably goes a little bit further.
They've got some fellas.
Speaking of Gretna, because I think anytime Gretna comes up, we're required to mention something about them. State girls soccer begins this weekend. I ran across this stat.
And keep an eye on Dash Bauman, too, for Lincoln East. Another good player. Let's do that in there. My bad.
But with state soccer starting today, and people stay hydrated at Morrison, at the beautiful Morrison Stadium, because, the crappy spring weather and all of a sudden it's going to be warm. Gretna girls have won, and Omaha has dominated Class A in girls, but Lincoln's sending a lot of teams up here. So, this might be the year Lincoln breaks through. Gretna soccer has won 39 of 40 matches. They've outscored their opponents 251-12.
So,
and they've got their own standalone stadium at the high school.
That facility, we've talked about, that thing is amazing. Two things: they are the odds-on favorite. But do you think the capital city, whatever they're doing in soccer, they need to be doing in football? Because Lincoln soccer is on the come.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask some people, and I'll be there this morning. But I think, what I think it is? I think it's the investment so young. Because their they have some really good youth programs and soccer. But
it also sounds like
football just can't quite get there.
But we hear from the football side, it sounds like the soccer coaches from high school to club all the way down are more united in the end goal.
There's probably something.
And they've also got more direction.
There's probably something
than football has.
Because I know that's why it works here. I mean, it's pretty streamlined. And those guys talk directly to coaches. Some are even on staff. Right? There's a definite connection.
Oh, and it's not like the football coaches, we know this. I'm not telling this to you. It's not like they said, we've just given up. They're frustrated. They wish they would have some stuff that Omaha has.
Yeah. Soccer seems to I'd do that. I'd do again, I would do what soccer's doing. If you can.
Are they still playing soccer out at Abbott?
Yeah, that's
where Nebraska used to play soccer until they moved on campus.
I think that's kind of. Oh, look, Corey hooked me up. It's going to take me some time to read this. Wow. It's a lot of data. Boy, Epicenter and Zandon, that would have been someday. It's okay.
Better for the sport, though.
It is?
Mm-hmm. That sport's in trouble, man. They had to have a palate cleanser. And they got that. I mean, because they've had that sport is a troubled sport right now.
Mm.
The stories. Look, we talked to Big A the other day. We're talking about Baffert and drug testing.
Yeah,
they got an 81-1 shot to win,
yeah.
And they got Jack Harlow and a drunk Drake on television.
Yeah,
Jack Harlow's everywhere.
Hey, Drake was. I know he has a song called "On One," but he was definitely on one.
That was funny.
Wow.
But Jack Harlow
Have
is.
a night.
But we got to talk about Jack Harlow. He's everywhere. I mean, everywhere you look, every event Jack Harlow is at now. He's not just sitting courtside at the Garden. He's at the Kentucky Derby. people still are trying to figure out who he is. He just released a song. I don't know. Did he have a thing with Shane? You know this, with Dua Lipa, because he has a song named after Dua Lipa.
Is Dua Lipa
with Elton John? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, well, then it could be a thing. You never know.
And that's
totally on me.
But how many people now, when Jack Harlow shows up on your screen, go, who is that guy? When we were talking about him in the crossover last week, he's going to be playing the Woody Harrelson character in the remake of White Men Can't Jump. And he's a singer. He's seriously, he is everywhere. But him and Drake at the Kentucky Derby was pretty good television.
Some of these hats, man, folks are just doing too much.
Oh, no, that's what you're supposed to do. The thing is a whole spectacle. See, I think we missed an opportunity to go Louisville, Vegas, Miami.
Hey,
did you see the spectacle in Miami yesterday? At the Formula One?
Yeah.
I mean, the celebs were everywhere.
But so that thing's obviously making a comeback. We fell asleep. Formula One just was like,
I don't know if it's making a comeback because it's not an American sport, but the Drive to Survive on Netflix changed in America what we did with Formula One.
They got some young, funny guns. That's what it is.
Yeah, but they got no American drivers. It's not going to take over NASCAR.
No.
But it's a spectacle. But here's what went on in Miami. I'm thinking about going to Vegas to see it.
Stop.
The Formula One on the strip.
You would lose your mind. You're already out there. That's the last thing you need.
Well, I'll give me a couple outfits
in
Vegas with Formula One.
I just reeled you back in from the last 2 weeks. Last thing I need is more blow and snow. Come on, man.
Stay away from blow. I also stay away from snow.
God.
See, I need you to come as a wingman.
No.
Why won't you go to these events
because
with me?
I don't like people like that. Correction here, Coach. He said Cody had it wrong. A2 District Top Boys teams, Gretna Central, Lincoln East, North Platte, also North and Burke. Now he did leave out. Now, if I'd have known that this school was in there, he left out the 100-meter, the real matchup. I mean, Genatone and Sedlacek is fine, but it's Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd. How about that?
That would be that'd be worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
How about?
Yeah. Maybe change the plans. That actually. I wonder where. Jay's got to work districts. I wonder where she is. But I hate taking Zoe on the infield. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, relax.
You're not one of those parents that puts like a leash, like a little wrist thing.
No.
Thank you.
No, she gets spanking. She knows to stay close.
Whoa. All right.
Need a leash.
Oh, you've seen those parents that have
Yeah,
their
those
kids
are
like
parents
that.
that can't discipline.
And I'm like, yeah.
Those are the whisper parents. Jimmy, stop. That's not me.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You ain't got to worry about
When
that.
when are you going to drop off? You're going to let Uncle Gary watch Zoe?
No.
Why?
Because she'll be comatose from candy and soda.
Oh, no.
Oh, hey, here's another corn dog. No, we don't work like that. Have her sitting down watching Winning Time with you? Yeah, probably not. Hey, your dad really likes Magic Johnson. He's his favorite player. So you look at you like, what?
All right, 6:49. Coming up a little bit later. We come back.
Yeah, I might have to. There's a definite change of plans now. I should have looked.
When we come back, we got to go back to Bud Crawford after the upset in Vegas of the now #1 pound for pound man named Bud Crawford. Plus, coming up in the next hour.
You know how good somebody has to be that inactive and still that highly thought of?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether it's the consecutive stoppages, whether it's how he treated Porter, whether it's maybe nobody else is that guy. I mean, because they penalized Andre Ward for it. Ward wasn't busy enough, and I knew he was the best on the planet.
But don't you think people that follow the sport, embrace the sport, go, Bud will fight anybody? There's just
the back and forth between he and Charlo is interesting. But obviously, Charlo and Spencer boys, right? Both brothers, they spar together. So when they train together, they just keep it in the family. That's why Charlo doesn't really want Spence to move up, because I don't think he wants to fight him unless the money's right. But I mean, he's gonna clap back at Bud. But I mean, it's obviously Spence or bust.
Next hour, we'll get into not a great weekend for college baseball around here. Could be a good summertime for a football player from Fremont who got an offer again this weekend from a Big Ten school not named Nebraska. We'll get into that as we roll till the 10. Mike Everett, Scott Shanley, Jimmy Watkins, all to join the show, along with you. Sharp Betting in the morning at 1620 The Zone.
Rotella's tradition. It's remained the same. It's not just the quality ingredients that lead to the great texture and taste or the wide selection of what it is that you can eat. It's the commitment to you, the customer. And it's funny too, Rotella's, they understand that partnership goes hand in hand. Yeah, it's about the quality ingredients that have withstood the test of time over 100 years. When I say the test of time, that's a long time. It's kind of led to their versatility in terms of what they can provide you, but it's primarily because they listen to you, the customer, your needs, your ideas, your suggestions. That's what it's about. That's how you got the ciabatta bread. That's how you got the differences between the hoagies and the hot dogs, or the different variations of buns, and even gluten free. At Rotella's, they pride themselves on the ability to produce the specialty items that you've asked for. It's really how they look at it. It's an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to provide for you, the community. It's a great partnership. That's how you get to 100 years. Over 100 years of quality specialty bread products. They go hand in hand. Visit your nearest grocer. Visit rotellasbakery.com.
At some point this morning, I think it's on Good Morning America on ABC, Buck and Aikman will be together for the first time.
The schedule release.
They're going to announce what the best Monday Night Football game is. They're announcing one game because this week is the week that Damon always looks forward to, and we get together probably on Thursday.
No.
It is schedule release week on the NFL. They've already unveiled the international games, but this week, Thursday, it culminates with the schedule coming out officially. It will leak out as the week goes along, and certain games will be announced. But today, Buck and Aikman announce what they think is, or what they've been told is the best Monday night game. The NFL always wins. It's May 9th. May 9th. The NFL always wins.
You're dang right.
Listen, doing too much. You're doing too much.
It's all about promotion.
So you're grabbing popcorn and what else?
This is one of the most anticipated NFL seasons ever. You've had the craziest offseason ever, and now leading into September. I mean, not even until September. But the NFL always wins. I'm very curious to see who it's going to be. You know that ESPN will get a good Monday Night Football schedule this year. They're not getting Jacksonville and Atlanta. I mean, but will they get a schedule that rivals Sunday Night Football? You know, Sunday Night Football has been the game.
It's going to have to. And you know, it matters to one guy because he's doing one playoff broadcast, waxing poetic about how he'd rather be doing another one. So he understands getting quality games. It will be very important to one Troy Aikman.
We started the hour talking about what year we're living in when horse racing and boxing dominate the headlines on the weekend. And with Alvarez losing and Bud Crawford, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be the number one pound for pound. Would you agree with the sentiment after watching Alvarez and the Russian that the boxer always prevails?
Yeah, he's got
a hell of a chin too.
Yeah, big, strong technician. He pushed Canelo around the ring, and I know Canelo wants to exercise the rematch clause, but I'm trying to figure out what he's going to do differently. Like just stylistically.
Doesn't he already have Golovkin and him are supposed to fight next, right?
But I don't listen. Do you want to see that? I don't.
I don't want to see a rematch.
That's just
here.
me. I'd like to see him maybe get the rematch before I saw Golovkin 3. I don't know. I just don't know what Gennady's got left.
I don't think Alvarez should go back to 168. That's a good home for you.
Yeah. Stop fighting natural 175 pounders.
Because you got beat by a guy and it wasn't a fluke.
No.
It wasn't, hey, I had an off night.
My man said they miscalculated. No. He really thought he only won 4, maybe 5 rounds. Yeah, I didn't see that. Maybe I'll watch it again without volume. Canelo always gets the benefit of the doubt in those fights too, with ringside the commentary, because he's so he's the draw, he's the moneymaker. I did see, in typical De La Hoya fashion, him get his little shot off. Hey, never too late to come back to the best promoter in the game. Nah, I don't think he's coming back, Oscar.
I'm sticking this, man. Weight classes are to be obeyed.
It's hard, right? Just you got to know your role. That's why I have such appreciation for guys that can unify belts at different classes, because it's hard to do, man. You remember, it wasn't that long ago. Shoot, we were together. Would Bud's power travel with him? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has. It's how you have those consecutive stops.
But
they're not going to decision.
But his whole resume is not based on power, kind of like Alvarez.
No, but it has become more impressive though. He's become the maybe best finisher in boxing.
But he's also got the other elements of upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
All right. 1 hour in the books to kick off this week of Sharp Betting in the Morning. Hour away from former Major League umpire Mike Everett. We come back. Lost weekend for baseball. Yeah. Maybe lost season for Nebraska.
We'll see.
All right, welcome back in Sharp Betting in the Morning. Damon, Gary, and Shane.
Oh, come on, Shane.
This is crazy. I've never been to an F1 race. This is spectacular.
It's amazing to be allowed right in the middle of the competitors just before the race starts.
Yeah, now you can see they locked in. It reminds me of myself. But real focus.
Okay, it's not Patrick. That's why he ignored me in the beginning. But what is your name, sir?
Paulo Banchero.
Right, okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else. So I'm sorry about that.
So on the grid walk yesterday, it got a little awkward. You have from Sky Sports, Martin Brundle. He is walking, and there are celebrities everywhere.
I know you thought it was Seth Brundle. That was the dude that played in The Fly.
He got Paulo Banchero, who is 6'10". He thought he was Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you're a British reporter. You're not really familiar with our celebrities, especially sports celebrities. Banchero and Mahomes,
They are both light skinned.
Yeah, they kind of look alike.
No, they don't.
Except one is 6'10".
Stop.
No, if you look closely, like the hair.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Mahomes has a distinctive look.
Okay.
So I'm trying to help the reporter here.
No, continually perpetuating the myth.
Put them side by side.
Okay.
If you don't know our sports very well, and
well, how come you didn't give me a mulligan when I messed up the country music singers or the two actresses?
Because you're from here.
Well, it's not my wheelhouse.
But he's walking on the grid walk, and there are celebrities everywhere. That whole thing in Miami was a spectacle. I mean, they had fake water in a marina where they could have yachts, and it's in the parking lot of Hard Rock Stadium where the Dolphins and the Hurricanes play. It was so American. It was an event. It was a party for F1 in this country, which is, all of a sudden going through a boom because of the Netflix series. But he's walking and he stops and he thinks he's talking to Patrick Mahomes. Instead, it's Paulo Banchero, who, may go 1, 2, or 3 in the NBA draft. I was thinking as he mixed him up, and then he says something after that. He's like, all right, we're moving on. And then he went and asked another guy. He goes, what's your name? What do you do? Why are you important? And the guy said, I'm some social media person. He goes, oh, great. And moved on to the next guy. I mean, he's funny. He's at every Formula One race. He's from Sky Sports. Martin is funny. I was thinking, why don't we keep him in this country and we send him to other sporting events to interview our American celebrities? Like, can you imagine him at the Iron Bowl outside of Alabama, Auburn, interviewing all Alabama and Auburn fans?
Yeah.
His accent, and they're talking to him, and they're probably just like staring at him, and what he would say just off the cuff, because he makes comments as he's interviewing people. Like it's not the answer. Remember, he tried to, when it was in Austin last fall, he tried to stop Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she just kept moving. And he goes, wait.
Hey, foolishness works for some. He's broadening his horizons. Notice I have to stand now. That's awesome.
Right, okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else.
He kind of could have skipped over that, but it's part of his shtick now.
Well, I think he did think he was talking to Mahomes. He was like excited. It's just Mahomes isn't 6'10".
Well, maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe you would think that he would ask his, hey, like his camera guys, like, is that Patrick Mahomes over there? Let's go talk to Patrick. And maybe his camera guy said, hey, that's Patrick Mahomes. Let's go talk to him. So maybe it wasn't his fault.
I don't know. I might make the mistake if I'm a British reporter. I'm thinking, why would Banchero be like on the grid of a Formula One race in Miami? Why wouldn't it be Mahomes, who I think was in Miami, because it seemed like every NFL guy was in Miami partying this weekend, led by Tom Brady.
Well, why wouldn't you?
It reminds me of myself.
Locked in.
As the stars have arrived.
And Patrick does like to go to different events. You've seen him at, the NCAA basketball. You've seen him college football. I mean,
I like athletes that are fans of other sports. They're a fan of their own sport. They're fans of other sports. They go to other sports. One quick thing on Tom Brady, and we'll talk some NFL coming up at 8:40 when Scott Chanley stops by, because Ndamukong Suh does not have a home, but where he used to have a home in Tampa, their quarterback Tom Brady. Does it surprise you that the number one jersey set to sale, the number one player in terms of jersey sales in the NFL this past year was Tom Brady again? of all the young quarterbacks in the NFL, Tom Brady still has the number one spot for jersey sales. How?
Because he's a brand. It's TB12.
And to be that old in the league and to still have the number one jersey, that's pretty impressive.
Well, I think now it's from here on out, it's every year that you have a jersey, it's the last one he's going to wear. Maybe that's it. I don't know. The dude is popular, man.
He is, and he's not going to go away. And he's also got this whole new life on social media.
I was just getting ready to say that. Hey, did you see the little post that he had? Was it last week or the week before last where he let folks in on the little secret that the tuck rule was a fumble?
Wasn't it Justin Bieber asking a question?
Yeah. What was that on? Was that on IG or what's the other one I like? TikTok.
Might have been on TikTok. But Brady is everywhere on social media. It's like a whole new world for him. Yes, he trolled Raiders fans once again because he did a whole did a whole episode on his show of him and Charles Woodson just talking about the play.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm a Raider fan, I got nothing for Tom Brady. Kick him to the curb.
No,
he just continues to troll you.
I do like Woodson a ton on social media, but he's not quite as interesting as Channing Crowder has become. Those guys with their podcast is really good. Even Ryan Clark, who can be a little over the top sometimes. I mean, he was even like that at Friday Night Lights. But it just seems like a good guy, right? It's that positive energy.
All right, coming up in an hour, Mike Everett will join us. We got, as mentioned, Scott Shanley. Again, Ndamukong Suh doesn't have a home. Doesn't look like he's going to go back to Tampa. He wouldn't retire, would he?
No.
Got at least a year or two left in him.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of the Suh way, right? You make it, you're patient. Somebody's going to sign you. You don't need the money, so you'll sort it out and kind of get the best 1-year deal.
And Jimmy Watkins will stop by as well and talk a little Husker football and basketball. 2 weeks from today, summer conditioning workouts begin. By the way, thanks to everybody that commented on Shane's picture with Elliott Brown and Teddy Prohaska.
Oh, one quad bigger than one Shane.
Good on good.
Teddy Prohaska is a mountain of a man. That's
Okay.
what an
Trying to have a little bit of
NFL.
fun.
That's what an NFL tackle looks like. At 6'9", 325.
Yeah, just imagine moving that around. I mean, we take that for granted, and then he can like run and move and jump.
Well, it makes you appreciate.
There's like
especially in the Big Ten, makes you appreciate guys like Aiden Hutchinson and
it's
Chase
like
Young.
5% of the people in the world that can do that, and that's probably high.
But it does make you appreciate a Hutchinson and a Young that play outside that have to run into that size of a person down after down.
Yeah.
All right,
The goal is to avoid them.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe when you go to Lincoln today, maybe let them know that down there.
Well, I'm not hanging out at the stadium.
Here is Tim. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we this morning?
Good.
What's up, Tim?
I just drove past the Trump Herbster barn, so it's going to be a fantastic day today. There were some donkeys over there too, Damon. They're not extinct.
You came up a couple of times. One of the dads on our team is in the feedlot business, so somehow we had a lot of. I felt like I was back at 4-H and ag talk, man. It's you become kind of a funny.
Was that's where your roots are from? You're rooted in 4-H and ag talk.
Yeah. You know me, Mr. 4-H.
Future Farmers of America. Did you go to the event in Lincoln when you were in school there, Damon?
I didn't even know what that was.
They wore the jackets. They were everywhere around town. Huge convention.
Safe to say I wasn't paying attention.
This is kind of good. So you want to come to coffee next week?
Coffee.
Like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Farmers before they get in the field.
Hey,
well, I can introduce you around.
So what do? So what's open at 4:30 where you're getting coffee?
The gas stations. We're not high class people. Let's get GSD people.
So you just say, hey, I'll meet you over at the
Casey's. You just say Casey's. They'll find the closest one. It'll be fine. You'll probably end up at a different one, but there'll be another group there.
So what do you talk about?
What don't you talk about? What happened yesterday? What'd you eat for breakfast this morning?
Oh,
What'd you have for dinner last night? How are your crops? Why do your crops suck? How bad is your daughter's boyfriend, and how much do you wish you could bury him somewhere on the back 40? You talk about it all, Damon, but mostly what you talk about is how broke you are and how everyone is out to get you.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's really what it is. You'll see 9 $80,000 trucks lined up, and you'll hear 9 people claim they can't afford a T-shirt. It's fantastic. Please, sir, will you give me a hat and a T-shirt that says your seed company's name on it so I can finally afford to go to church in a nice new shirt? It's awesome. I live for it. You were talking about jersey sales.
Yeah.
Are adult men, I'm saying adult men allowed to wear football jerseys?
I mean, they do. So, and I'll be in the minority here. Weird, but I don't think that should be a thing. But that's just me.
Do they make an adult football jersey that has a collar so you could wear it to work? Maybe that's what they need to do.
You got to ask Sharpie. He has like 6.
I frame them.
Okay, that's fine. Framing them's fine. But do you not always feel a little bit awkward when you go somewhere and there's some guy in his 1993 Jerry Rice 49ers jersey that has clearly been through some things, probably both of his divorces, and he just thinks it's normal?
I don't know if you make friends or lose more friends with each call, Tim.
I don't care. I don't need friends. I have children. They're bad enough. I'm good.
Hey, how's your roommate?
She's good.
Yeah.
We had softball this weekend, and it was Mother's Day, and we won't have softball on Father's Day, so that will get thrown back in my face 1,000 times, at least. And it's like that every year. There's tournaments on Mother's Day. You know why? Because guys run the sport of softball in Nebraska and Kansas, and they don't schedule it on Father's Day because they're terrible people who set us all up for failure. Sure.
Tim thinks
I got to go to Colorado. They were out of big vehicles this time, Damon, so I am driving a 2022 Dodge Challenger.
Oh, do you like sitting close to the ground?
I hate it. And I got out of the gas. I had to run to the gas station. There's no like casual 6'1", 335 getting out of this thing. It's a roll and a tuck. And if my heel finds the ground, I can get up. But if my heel doesn't find the ground, I'm doing a burpee on the concrete at the gas station.
6'1", 335.
I'm not overweight. I'm under tall. Shut up.
Thanks, Tim.
You guys.
Tim's a man after my own heart. I've used that line before.
Dude, he's nuts. I don't know if I could just go to the gas station and shoot the breeze every day.
You kind of do. You were just telling me you stopped across the street here this morning.
Well, I know them. She's looking for Alanis Morissette tickets. And she's like, hey, you work at the radio station. I was like,
Alanis Morissette's coming to Omaha?
I don't know.
Shane?
I don't know. I'd tell you what, though. I'd rock a vintage 1993 Jerry Rice jersey if I could.
I don't think Tim would call you an adult.
You wouldn't call me an adult?
No, especially after you shaved your beard because you look roughly 12.
Well, I have that baby face look. Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Your girlfriend let you get away with that?
Yep.
She do it for you?
No, I wouldn't trust her with that.
A little too close to the throat?
Yeah.
You ever seen The Color Purple? You won't get that joke.
Stop. Don't even say anything, Shane. This is good for you. I do have a question. So you're going to be out for the next at the end of the week. By the way, we will be out at Warner Park on Friday ahead of the state baseball tournament. We'll be at Fred Huey's house there, the Sarpy County Tourism Office.
Yes, I'll miss that. I'm sorry.
Are you sure that you're not moonlighting down at the K? So there is somebody that looks exactly like you that sits directly behind home plate and never moves. The next time the Royals are at home, watch. Directly behind home plate, there is a guy that looks like you that sits there the same spot every night. He's not. I didn't look like a fan. He might work for the Royals. Watch that guy. I think he might be your doppelganger. Anybody else notice that?
No.
When you watch it, next time the Royals are at home, watch right behind home plate. There's a guy that looks like Shane, and he never moves.
I have a couple friends that
never moves.
I have a couple friends.
He's made one friend.
I'll ask. I have a couple friends that are on staff down there. So
With the comment about a roommate?
Yeah, well, he said, I don't know who Tim is, but I want to be his friend.
He doesn't want friends.
I know. He is funny, though. When he first started, because it's periodic, right?
Yeah.
So when he first started calling, I don't think anybody thought he was being serious. But the more you talk to him, I'm pretty sure he's serious. We got to meet his wife.
Oh, so it is his wife, not his roommate.
Well, he's always refers to as his roommate. Doesn't seem like they get along that well. She must have a great sense of humor.
Or not listen to the show. There's a lot of people that come on this show or have worked on this show that rip their wives, and they're like, thank God they don't listen. 7:21. Mike Everett, former Major League umpire, is coming up at 8. Scott Shanley, Jimmy Watkins as well. Plus, we have tickets to give away. Omaha and Creighton play tomorrow downtown. Fireworks after the game.
I love fireworks.
Beautiful weather. Both teams coming off a lost weekend, but we have tickets to give away to that. We also, at some point on this radio station this week, we have Big Ten baseball tournament tickets to give away.
Right there.
Be nice.
Good luck, everybody.
Get into the 7 slot.
I'll take it.
I would just take 8th.
It is what it is.
Just get to the tournament.
Yeah, you told me.
I didn't know that this weekend was
5 weeks ago. Oh, they'll get to the tournament. I said, are you sure? Well, they'll get to the tournament. Okay, I don't know, man. Are
We
you
still
sure?
got 2 weeks. Still got 2 weeks.
Nebraska.
But
you see the schedule?
Yeah, it's on the schedule.
Omaha.
We got to talk about that coming up next. Sharp betting in the morning at 16:20 The Zone. All right, spring is sprung today. The warmth is back. And you know what also is back? Your need for a vehicle. New or pre-owned. Perfect car, truck, or SUV. Where are you going to go? I got one place for you to go. You can go to Woodhouse Buick GMC. 119th and I. You can shop there first and experience the difference. So what's the difference? Top-notch customer service, quality of product, the amount of product, and They make it easy on you. They have made the car buying process simple. It's streamlined. They have a friendly and knowledgeable sales staff that will find the best deal for you. Any new or pre-owned inventory in their climate-controlled large indoor showroom at 119th and I. So you're looking for that stylish SUV like a GMC Terrain that can fit the whole family comfortably, or a capable truck that's got power in the front, power in the back, luxury in the middle, that gets the job done for personal or for pleasure. Woodhouse Buick GMC has something for everyone. And even online at woodhousebuickgmc.com, you can see all of the inventory across the board and make it easy on yourself to find that right vehicle for you. It is Woodhouse Buick GMC. Shop Woodhouse GMC first. We are professional grade. All right, welcome back in Sharp Betting in the Morning. 1620 The Zone, the app, the website, the TV. How we look on TV today?
Whoa! I don't pay it any mind.
We look okay today. I showered today, so we're good. Didn't shave.
Yes. Shane, what was the catalyst to shave?
Well, it's gonna be summertime here, so you know.
You hadn't shaved that since when?
Probably since shaved it all the way down to the skin. Probably since I want to say last July, but I have trimmed it a couple times.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't take. I mean, it grows out pretty thick, pretty quick.
That's funny. That makes that hat look like you wear. What do you wear? About a 5 3/4?
So it makes my hat look smaller.
Just your head looks like a little itty bitty.
I don't. What I
Wilson tennis
okay,
ball.
so what I don't have. Here's what I don't have.
Like
Because
a pen tennis ball.
you always say that I got a small head. I don't. It's a big noggin.
It's
but what I don't
proportion to your.
But what I don't have.
Yeah.
And it's on the I didn't if I would have got it from the mother's side I would have it, but I got it from
Your mom has a big head?
But I got it from the father's side.
Okay.
I have the small jaw line.
Oh.
I don't have the wide jaw. That's
So-
what I don't have.
Oh, you broke this down before?
I mean that's literally what it is.
Oh, okay. So it just gives you
Because I have cousins on the other side that are way tall, but they've got the white.
And you call them big face?
I don't call them anything. They have the wide jaw. The wide jaw. That's what it is.
I don't call them anything. Tim, Mary, Shannon.
And you can see all of that on TV right there.
Right there. You're a joy.
They have announced the Week 2 Monday Night Football doubleheader. ESPN will have Tennessee Buffalo. ABC will have Minnesota Philadelphia. Plan accordingly for Week 2 Monday Night Football.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think both those teams in the bottom portion of the screen, Minnesota and Philadelphia, will be pretty good. Pretty good. So the greatest thing ever on Friday, just random.
Arrowhead Stadium when you were in Kansas City?
No, this was in Omaha. So this was either Thursday. Maybe it was Thursday or Friday. It was one of the days I had been to the car wash.
Mm-hmm.
And I had
touchless? Subscription?
Yes.
Bougie.
So I saw this van and it said Hello Crew. So I knew right away it was
Roy Hello?
Roy Hello. It's actually Gina. And the funniest thing ever. So they have 5 kiddos. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, God bless her.
Okay. She's fantastic. Funniest, like one of the funniest people ever. So she's vacuuming and she's right next to me. And all of a sudden, her little dude takes the blowgun and puts it in his sister's face. She's eating chicken nuggets. And they just go.
I don't think I'm supposed to laugh here, but I want to.
It's arguably the funniest thing ever. Who thinks of that?
Good
luck,
the
little
good
air,
luck to the Hulus.
The little air
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, just like a dog, they're nuggets. Just she's like, OMG. And I was like, you have the patience of a saint.
Ooh.
Talk about good genes.
Busy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy genes.
That would be all right.
Before we talk about the weekend of college baseball around here, we do want to mention some unfortunate, sad news. Somebody that both Damon and I have known for a while, that a lot of people did. If you were in Crete or in Lincoln, Al Papik passed away at the age of 95 over the weekend, and his thumbprint is all over, for example, Doane, which the football field is named after him, and Coach Papik, track and field football coach at Doane, and then he came to Nebraska early 70s. I think Al retired. Well, he retired when Bill Byrne was still the athletic director. I think maybe in 99 or 2000, but he was an assistant athletic director. He worked in compliance. One of the nicest people you'd ever come across. Very distinctive voice, who would always say hello. And the thing that struck me, and I only knew him for about 5-6 years before he retired, is he always knew your name.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the people that I sat next to on flights.
He's great. He was great.
But he was such a huge asset for the University of Nebraska. But man, the people at Doane, Al Papik and his impact is everywhere. And I bring that up because next week will be state track and field, and he was also heavily involved in state track and field.
Yeah, he was. And the cool thing is, just in that same small circle, saw Gary Bargan this weekend,
who was also former assistant with Danny and then was in compliance.
Yeah. It's just, time goes fast. I didn't realize Al was 95.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good life.
And there's, again, in the Crete community at Doane, he is everywhere. Such a nice man who had a huge impact in his nearly 30 years in Nebraska's athletic department as well. Mike Everett, former Major League umpire, is coming up here in a little bit. With Nebraska baseball this weekend, trying to look for the word, because it was a completely lost weekend for Nebraska baseball, and now they are in the danger zone of not making the conference tournament. It's been a bad year for the big three men's sports in Lincoln, but Nebraska baseball not being one of 8 in a conference in which, how are you not one of 8, would be one of the worst things. But Nebraska, as is a phrase on this show, did it to themselves. Saturday night, they were sloppy. They didn't put away Minnesota. Minnesota hung around, won. Then yesterday, couldn't hit, and Minnesota came up with timely hits, and Minnesota wins a series. Wins a series for the first time this year. Minnesota is 14-31, 4-14. And Nebraska's lost 5 of the last 6 Big Ten series and are in danger. They aren't able to take care of business. And I thought Friday night, boom, Bryce Matthews goes down, freak injury, knee injury, don't know what his status is, but they get timely hitting, they get good pitching out of the bullpen, and they win a game, and you're thinking, here you go, you need to sweep the series. And then Saturday blew a late lead, got sloppy, which is going to be the death knell of this team.
Yeah.
And
I mean, people talk
now in
about the
trouble.
hitting all they want. They can't pick it.
Whether it be errors, physical or mental errors, just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling what has happened to this team in that area. And stuff they can't allow to happen happens, and Minnesota gets back in the game. I mean, for anybody that hung around for that game, there was nearly a 5-hour game. The first inning was about an hour. But it's when this season is all said and done, there's things that were discussed at the beginning of the year that are the same at the end of the year. And Nebraska may not make the Big Ten tournament, which, if you are interested in putting butts in seats for the Big Ten baseball tournament here, good luck. If Nebraska's not playing, I don't know how much attention that tournament gets at all.
Next to none.
I mean, except for maybe Iowa.
Who, by the way, do they want to take control? So now you got 3 at Illinois. Then you got a sneaky tough one out of conference with Oral Roberts. And then you got Michigan State, who's right behind you. Okay. I mean, had to have Minnesota.
That's a bad Minnesota team.
Oh, yeah.
A really bad Minnesota team. And lost the series, lost 2 of 3, and are now tied for 9th. Illinois, by the way, 12-6. And you go on the road and play those games.
Won 4 in a row, too.
Yeah. We'll have tickets to give away to the Big Ten tournament if you want to go there and see what the ballpark looks like.
Well, Nebraska's got it. You got to keep speaking it into existence. You've been saying they'll be there.
Yeah, this might have been the end for me, though. You can't. Minnesota's bad. Minnesota's bad. You can't lose that series.
No,
you can trick off a game like Saturday night, but then you find a way to win on Sunday because that's a crucial game, and you weren't able to find a way. And the hitting didn't show up. I mean, they are so uneven. You got really good starting pitching, but yet you couldn't get any timely hitting. But a lost weekend across the board. UConn and Creighton played 3 really, really good games. I watched the entire Friday game.
Yeah, those are 2. Yeah,
the Friday game
good
was
teams.
fantastic. And UConn's a little bit different. Now, if I'm the Big East, and UConn wins all 3 games in that series, and 2 of them are 6-5 games, and the other one is a great pitching matchup on Friday that UConn wins 3-1. UConn is 40-8. They're now 14-1 in the Big East. They have clearly built themselves as a powerhouse in the Northeast. And they're sitting atop the Big East in baseball. It would almost be ideal if UConn didn't win your conference tournament.
So you think
because you could get 2 teams in. Because they're going to get in at large because they're a top 20 team. And they might be having the best year that they've ever had, but yet still as good as their RPI is going to become or is where it is, they're still not going to host. But yeah, if you're the Big East, yeah, hey, maybe somebody knocks off UConn. And because they're not going to host, so it's not going to damage their chances, you knock them off and you get 2 teams in. But now they have a 4-game lead on Creighton after they sweep this weekend.
So if you're looking at so UConn's what, 45 or 35?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, top 35. Creighton is still in the 90s. That's really your only chance. You hope UConn continues to win until your conference finals.
Get upset and have 2 teams in. One would be a 4, and UConn's probably going to be a 2.
Ooh, maybe. Yeah,
they're 40-8.
What a top 35 RPI. Yeah, you're probably right. That's Tuesday. Fringe Tuesday.
Omaha lost 2 of 3 this weekend to
Wheels
South Dakota State.
Have come off.
Yeah, they had 2-6 in the last 8. Now Omaha and Creighton play tomorrow night. But one thing that has not come off is Mike Bovee has a really good shot to be the Summit League Player of the Year, the third baseman for the Mavs, who now has a hit in 21 straight games.
Yeah, he flat out rakes.
His stock is going to go through the roof. He's going to go to the Cape Cod League. Now, they got to find us. I don't think he's a third baseman. He can swing it. He's going to go to the Cape Cod League and get a lot of attention. And then next year, there'll be a lot of people paying attention to Mike Bovee.
Yep.
They just need it. Again, is he going to be? Could he play first base? I just don't think third base is the spot for him in the pros. But man, he can swing it. I mean, he has command at the plate so much this weekend. South Dakota State was pitching around him.
Yeah,
I mean, they either intentionally walk him or you fall behind 2-0. He's not seeing anything.
Hey, did you happen to? Speaking of the Summit League, did you happen? And we like them. Did you happen to see how tough NDSU played Miami? They led for a good portion of that.
I just saw the one game which they got absolutely
the 6-4 game I was talking about.
They got annihilated.
Saturday or Sunday?
What, 22-0 on Friday?
Yeah.
What a bizarro series to play in May.
I know. Oh, you want to get out of the weather you've been having? You've had to play on the road. Why not go to Miami? Be okay.
Yeah, North Dakota State's played like 3 or 4 home games this entire year.
Oh.
You think guys showed up? They returned to Fargo and they were the sunburn. You know, where the first time you're in the sun. Like a lot of people today, you're going to notice people that are out in the sun today. Like today is the first day where people will be red.
That will not be me.
I think that would be concerning if you all of a sudden were red. I think I would consult my doctor if that was the case.
You may need to see a physician.
So we'll have tickets to give away to tomorrow night's Omaha Creighton game. Well, it's going to be nice. They have fireworks afterwards.
Pyrotechnics.
Like this is a big firework week. Like Creighton is advertising. They have fireworks for 2 nights. Omaha is going to have fireworks after the game on Friday when they play Oral Roberts.
Is that your thing?
Fireworks?
You're in Oklahoma, Tyler. Love your fireworks.
Well, there's a difference between controlling individually the fireworks and going to games that have a fireworks show afterwards.
You prefer the latter?
I can do both.
Yeah, you like fireworks. It's okay. It's an expensive habit.
But there's nothing like going to a ball game and having post-game fireworks.
When you clear your throat, does that mean it's important or you just have something to say?
Well, let me clear my throat. I was going to say the best thing about fireworks, if you don't like them and they're at the game, I mean, a lot of people stay, so it'll be easier to get out right after the game. You don't have to be that guy or that person leaving, when the 9th inning comes around.
I do notice that
traffic. You want to beat the traffic.
That's what I'm talking about, Shane. Keep your glass half full. You don't have to be that. It's just natural, right? You can get out.
Natural. You can just get out, get home, do whatever it is you got to do.
So you know what I say to Marty? I go, you spend a lot on this one? Nah, this is one of our lighter shows. I'm out. I'll beat the traffic. If he goes, no, we went all in. I'm like, I got a front row seat here.
Hey, Shane, do you have any I know you went to go see the movies, right? You saw Doctor Strange.
That is correct. I did see.
Did you see that because you liken the name or you share some things in common or?
I don't share anything in common with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a pompous, 3-word. He's a pompous ass.
Pompous. That's the word of the morning. God bless you, Shane.
And I'm nothing like that.
You're spectacular. You kind of live in a multiverse, though, don't you?
I don't live in a multi. I mean, he was a former rich.
Why, Damon?
Yeah,
why?
Yeah. Why, Damon?
Because now we're in the multiverse of madness.
I mean,
no,
do you listen to him sometimes?
This goes in depth.
The in your own mind is over on that side of the board.
Oh, on our side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did see Doctor Strange. Yes, it was good. You can go see it if you want to. Just don't. Just stay your normal self before you go because there's a lot of stuff going on. So you don't want to.
Like you want to go there in a good headspace, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
there's
All
a
right.
lot of stuff going on in the picture everywhere with a lot of moving stuff. I mean, it's
busy.
It's very busy. If you go and you get a large pop and
Did you feel like you had vertigo?
You
Because
could
it was
feel
in
like
the dark.
you could feel like you could have vertigo. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. And
What was the original question?
If he likened the name Doctor Strange because
Okay.
of their thought process.
So you got yourself some popcorn.
No,
and
no,
a
no,
soda.
don't. I'm
He
saying
doesn't like to eat. I thought you didn't like to eat in the dark.
I don't. I'm just saying don't get yourself a pop because if you leave during any of it, it doesn't matter where, you're not gonna know what's going on because they're bouncing around all over.
Don't
the
get
place.
yourself a pop because you'll have to use the restroom.
Yes,
Because 2 hours is too long to not have to use the restroom for a grown up.
but a lot of people do use the restroom during because I mean, there's always at least one person going, excuse me, I got to get through. Excuse me. Like, why are you walking in front of me? Go the other way.
I think Tim should take Shane to coffee.
Go
Shane
the
can
other way.
report back to us.
Go the other way. You could have got out with 3 people down that side. You didn't have to walk 17 people down
Why
this
don't they
side.
design movie theaters, and in particular that theater that's got the restroom like inside of it, so you don't have to leave the theater and go.
Yeah, I don't know. Is
So
it
that
make
when
too
you
much
go in-
sense
when you
to
go in
just
the-
not have to use the restroom within 2 hours?
Well, sometimes
It's 2 hours and 6 minutes plus preview, so about 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Like, just go to the bathroom before.
not everybody has bladder control.
It's 2 hours. How do you sleep? You wet the bed?
Oh, but you're drinking?
Oh my gosh. Just hold it. God.
I think they should build bathrooms inside of the specific theater. And then when you go in the bathroom, the movie is still playing. So you don't miss any.
So when somebody wants to get by you,
no
'cause
idea how we got here.
So when somebody wants to get by you because they got to use the restroom, you tell them to just hold it. Park it, buddy, and hold it.
Oh, you buy a seat where you're not going to have people crawling over you. That's
Shane,
one
I
thing
thought you
do.
said you didn't like to eat in the dark.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did you buy anything?
No, I didn't buy anything.
Did you sneak anything in?
No.
Again,
Did you eat
I'm owning
before
a
the
Dollar
movie
Tree
or
and I'm
after?
opening
Before
it
the
right
movie.
next to a movie theater.
Where'd you go to eat this weekend?
We just went over to Tasty Pizza. That's what she wanted.
That's your spot.
Well, that's what she wanted. So I'm all about whatever she wants. So
So you probably only had to spend like what, $12 on dinner?
yeah, it was $12.
You mean you were in my neighborhood and you didn't call up to say, hey, what's up?
What's up? We're going over to Tasty Pizza. You want
You
to?
were in Exarban
No, I
Village.
thought you would. Oh, so is that the one you went to?
Yeah, we went to Exarban. We were gonna go to the Majestic, but the tickets were
$1 more.
No. The night before was fine, but by the time we were leaving to go to the movie, there was like 2 seats left.
Oh, you wanted to book your seats?
I didn't want to book in advance. I just wanted to just pay when I got there. So
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was just what I wanted to do. So, but it worked out. I mean, Exarban's fine. I like Exarban.
Movies might be back. So a couple of the digital.
Shane, I love you, man.
The digital
What else you want to know?
The digital advertising boards on I-80 are advertising Top Gun.
I'm gonna invite you to my funeral.
Here, I'll give you a quick rundown of Doctor Strange without moving it.
Here we go.
Without ruining anything.
I asked one simple question.
So like I said, there's a lot going on. So don't get a drink because you'll miss a whole bunch of the movie. There's some great surprises in it with some extra new characters that you're probably not thinking you're going to see in a Marvel movie. There's several new characters. Yeah. What else? I said it was very busy, so it's all right. I would put it. I would put it.
You didn't say anything.
I'm trying not to ruin it. I would put it at like a top, maybe around 10th best movie for Marvel. Maybe I'm saying that because it's new. It's not a top 5, but maybe somewhere around 9 or 10. Out of the 28 of them that they have. So it's a top 3rd movie.
Okay.
I mean, that's doable.
Oh man.
I mean, it's not Captain Marvel or anything, but
John says in the Equitable Bank inbox, I think this is directed towards me. It sounds like going on a road trip would be a real treat.
Hey, Shane. Tim just said Shane's worse than his 9-year-old. No way he's going to have to a movie or having coffee with Shane.
I don't drink coffee, so that's not going to happen.
You'd be significantly cheaper than his 9-year-old.
I don't drink coffee, so that's not happening.
Nobody can split a sandwich and take half home like Shane.
Exactly.
Did you eat your whole pizza?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, they have the small.
Oh, you got a single?
Yeah,
like a personal one?
Yeah, but then she got a salad and there was some ice cream and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
What? What else you want? I mean, I had strawberry ice cream. She had vanilla.
I'm still trying to remember what Damon's question was to you.
And then I got a second vanilla, and she got a vanilla.
I thought you didn't like to go to the movies full.
It was fine. I wasn't full. That's why we didn't get like the large or anything. We just had a couple slices of pizza, and we're good. We were gonna eat afterwards, but like I said, the theater that we were gonna go to it sold out, so we had to eat beforehand. And I didn't want to go to the theater being full because I didn't want to fall asleep or anything like that on a full stomach, which I would have. That's the breakdown. The reason why we went to Tasty Pizza, because she wanted to go there, and I knew she liked that place. So yeah, she didn't actually know we were gonna go there until I pulled up, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, this is the place I want to eat."
Oh, you
So,
surprised her?
yeah, it's kind of a surprise.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she liked that.
Shane, you got all the game.
You dang Skippy.
And you should have a segment every Monday. What did you do this weekend?
Did you watch? So you're not a Formula One guy, right?
I didn't watch.
He's very
Formula One.
loyal
You
to
like
NASCAR.
You like NASCAR.
Yeah,
Is it
I
like
wouldn't-
boxing and MMA? Can you like both?
you can like both of those. Those
I
are
think
fine.
I think Steve does. He likes
Mhm.
NASCAR and Formula One.
I mean, I don't. I mean, you could ask the guy in the afternoon. I mean, he's all about Formula One. Does he like NASCAR? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
People like Formula One. It's taken off because of a Netflix show. You got no American drivers, but it is a spectacle. I'm going to Vegas. When they're on the strip, I'm going to Vegas.
You're not going.
I'm going to Vegas.
You would lose your mind.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable there. I have no idea who outside of Max and Lewis.
Who?
Max and Lewis. Two of the better drivers. Max won yesterday. You know Max.
No.
Chart and betting in the morning. Why does the NBA hate the Heat?
Your boys are not victims. Got to play better.
Why does the NBA hate the Heat? Embiid is back, and he's not the MVP. The Joker has won the MVP for the second straight year, so that means Embiid in Game 5 will try and go for 50.
I thought, whoa.
That's okay. It's okay. He can go for 50 as long as, they only have like Harden scores like 4 or 5. And
Are you nervous now?
No, I'm not nervous because this is still the Heat series to win. But Embiid makes a difference, and I don't like Lowry having a bad hammy.
He's got such a weird frame. I don't even know how he's managed.
That's what people say about me.
I don't know how he manages it.
Well, he's a key, and him not being able to run hurts. And then I can't figure out why all of a sudden for a team that doesn't shoot the 3-ball well, and they haven't, thank God for Jimmy Buckets, why is Duncan Robinson attached to the bench?
But he's been hit or miss, though.
But they haven't hit anything. Maybe Spoelstra insert him. Again, I'm not concerned.
2 days ago, we were talking about you needed more of a hero. Now you're all of a sudden, it's like, what's going on with Spoelstra?
He didn't play well in Philadelphia. I don't know. Embiid changes them. I mean, of course he would. But now he's going to try and make a big statement because he didn't win the MVP.
You guys can still score more points, though. I mean, that'd be okay.
That is
not a direct. That's not a direct.
That is the whole goal.
Embiid thing. Like, you could make a few shots.
I can only do so much from my couch.
Oh man!
How about the guy that was sitting courtside that fell asleep last night?
Hey, it was a snooze fest. And it was a good game. Like, why was he sleeping?
He just so tired.
He might have had too much ice cream.
Full belly.
Need the baby cups like Shane gets.
Mike Everett, former Major League umpire, coming next.
Looking for all your needs, with your vehicle to be met in one spot? How about visiting woodhouse.com? It got everything you'd want. Woodhouse makes it easy to shop for the next car, truck, or SUV. Whether you're in the market for new or maybe just new to you, Woodhouse, they've got you covered. It's truly a one-stop shop. If you're in search of new, they got 18 brands across the 16 metro locations, from the most popular truck brands to the luxury vehicles. They'll showcase vehicles that are currently on the lot or ones that are on their way, just to keep you ahead of the curve. If you're looking for, new to you, certified pre-owned, you can easily explore hundreds of pre-owned vehicles to find the features and the price that fits your lifestyle. They don't stop just there either. You can do payment options, apply for credit. Maybe you're looking for trade value. It's truly a one-stop shop. It's the Woodhouse way. If you can't stop on out to the closest dealership, visit woodhouse.com. Halftime, Sharp and Benning in the morning. 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Brought to you by Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge. Looking to just relax, shoot the breeze, maybe talk baseball, catch up on hockey. Maybe you just want to mind your own business. Have a nice cocktail and a cigar. Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge. They've got you covered. Great location off the North 48th Street exit off the Mormon Bridge Road, right next to Cubby's.
You know, in this town, we are lucky enough to have in the officiating business two of the better ones in their respective sports. John Higgins, Clete Blakeman, college basketball, NFL respectively. People loved the show when we had them in together. Now here's another opportunity. One of the really, really good guys in the profession of Major League umpires, now retired, works as a supervisor. He's become a familiar face out at Warner Park. Mike Everett joins us. Mike, thanks for your time. Welcome to Sharp and Benning in the Morning.
Well, thank you for having me, and look forward to talking a little bit umpiring. And it's always good to be in Omaha at Warner Field.
Hey, so this is you retired not too long ago. What is the role as a supervisor? What are you doing when you're there in the press box and you're not talking to me?
Yeah, I retired at the end of the 2019 season, and quite honestly, there's not a class or a training session where you learn how to become a supervisor. Basically, you know, at the AAA level, with which I have a lot of joy going to these games, these umpires are, you know, one step away from the big leagues, and we're really going over with, you know, just really looking hard at kind of where they're at and see it determine if they're prospects to possibly make it to the major leagues. I mean, we're looking at how they look in the uniform, the demeanor they have, the field presence. We're looking at their mechanics. We're looking on how they handle situations. We're also looking like, you know, what kind of people they are off the field, on and off the field, how they communicate. And, you know, they're just kind of, it's an interview process, and it's interview process for something that they started since umpire school and the ultimate dream of becoming a major league umpire. So those are some of the things I'm looking for. And you know, sometimes you just look and you see it, you know, the it factor. Other times, you know, it takes umpires to a little bit more time to develop. And so that's kind of what I'm doing when I'm out at a AAA ballpark.
How do you gauge like temperament, right? Because it's a little bit of an athletic deal too, where you want to be competitive and be motivated, but you have to be calm under duress, right? That doesn't always manifest itself just naturally. How do you gauge temperament?
Well, no, it's very difficult to do that because you know, not very many people with their jobs show up and you know, get yelled at. You know, if they make a mistake, or if they, you know, your boss, you know, someone perceives you make a mistake. So that's hard, you know. But you know, that's part of the preparation for when you go to umpire school, and then you work your way up through the minor leagues. You know, the number of games you work, all that experience, and the maturation process of learning how to deal with some of these arguments, the maturation process of learning how to let some of that stuff go. And then also knowing when, hey, it's time I have to take control here. I have to have some justice, and, you know, see, we got to follow some rules here on the field. And so, yeah, that's very, and then, you know, there's a human side as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you've had enough, right? And sometimes it can get pretty heated. Those days are, you know, of the Earl Weaver, the Billy Martin days of kicking dirt, and are pretty much done, you know, especially at the big league level because of how we have instant replay and everything. But certainly that's one of the things we look at, and we have, you know, supervisors in the lower minor leagues working with the umpires on helping them kind of develop and get through that process.
Mike Everett, former Major League umpire, over 2 decades in the bigs, all the way from the World Series to the All-Star game. And you've been involved in a lot of key moments and worked a lot of games. And we see it now with the current umpires that are in the majors. Do you ever want, or when you were working, or umpires now, to say, hey, I'd like to defend myself? We rarely hear umpires speak that are currently umpiring on, you know, a big call or why they made that call. Would you like it where you could defend yourself and answer people's questions more?
Yes and no, but let's really truly with social media and the way things are today in today's game and just life in general. We could talk till we're blue in the face, but some things are just never going to change. And so, yeah, sometimes it would be nice to be able to defend some of the things that maybe others don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's not going to change the fact that if and I tell my young umpires, listen, the first thing you need to do is get off social media. You do not need to be reading what others think about you, because you're not going to open it up and they're going to say you're a great umpire. They're not going to open it up and say, man, this guy or this umpire, this woman, this guy, really just what a tremendous umpire. One day when early in my career, I couldn't go to sleep, and I decided to Google my name, and it was not a good choice on my part, because you find out there are a lot of people out there that don't really like you, and you've got to have a lot of confidence when you officiate an umpire, and you can't get in your way.
Mike, let me ask you: Do you look at instant replay as a security blanket or kind of an unnecessary watchdog? Does it free you up, or does it keep you on your game?
It does both, really. Listen, I'm getting ready to go to New York tomorrow. Part of my job duties is I go to New York 5 times during the season for 4-day shifts and help supervise that room. But being on the field and going through that when we did get replay, it was difficult. You thought that at times, yeah, it did help get you out of a situation where you weren't on MLB Network or ESPN, that 24-hour cycle, if it was a very controversial call or whatever the case is. But as an umpire, you put on those headsets, and now they're making announcements, so it's got a little bit more advanced. But it's a sock in the gut sometimes, when you make a call and you get overturned. And I got overturned 2 times in one game, in a playoff game, and my career, 2015, and it really took a sock to my gut, and I had to really battle to rebuild my confidence moving forward through that series. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, It does get you off the hook on certain calls, and especially if they're really controversial. But you want to be right. And another thing I try to tell my young umpires, listen, you're human. And if you try to be perfect, that's not a good method to go out there and try to umpire a game.
Hey, now that you're seeing more minor league games and supervising, and you and I have talked about this a little bit, how is the pitch clock working in your opinion, and how is it going to work when it gets to the majors maybe next year?
Well, from what I've seen, I've been to Omaha a couple times. I've been to Des Moines, and then I've also covered Kansas City, Minneapolis, and Arizona. Listen, I don't think there's any no doubt in my mind that it's working at the minor league level. It is working, and I think the players are getting used to it. And you see hiccups. I think once it goes to the major league level, just like anything, there's going to be some bumps in the road. But if the league really wants this to go, which I do believe they do, they'll support the umpires in implementing this and get going. It's a little bit different with Major League Baseball with the time constraints with TV and the commercials and everything. But there's no question in my mind if everyone buys in and they get going on this, that it will make a difference.
Mike, do you find like it's such a strange sport? It's very historical. It's numbers driven. You're trying to move into another generational group when you're watching or part of the umpiring. You're trying to move the game along. Things like pitch clocks or ghost runners or no DH or 2 DH. When you're looking at the growth of the game from a fan perspective, you have a hard time balancing it as a purist, or is it just part of a necessary evolution?
Well, I hate to sound like this, this older guy, but listen, I tell the younger umpires that the train has left the station, right? And so either you hop on board and you do your very best to implement some of these changes, or the train's going to roll you over. It's left the building, and so you need to have to adjust to this. So, my answer to part of that is, if you're a baseball purist, you can not like some of the things that are going on, but it's not going to change the fact that they're going to. And I've been around baseball since I was 5, 6 years old, and then started any further. So went to umpire school, and I've seen like all of us, seen the game change a lot. But as an umpire, you don't really look at fans' perspective. It's a totally different perspective. I had a favorite baseball team when I was a kid in a major league, but once I became an umpire, you can't have a favorite team. And you are unbiased. You are upholding the integrity of the game, and I think that's probably the most important job duty as an umpire. But so you don't really see it as a fan perspective. You're given a job to do, and they tell you to implement these rules, and there's a lot of duties that umpires have to do now, a lot more than they used to. And so you have to hop on board, or it's going to roll you over.
When I say robot umps, you say what?
Oh, well, I say, I imagine you're saying, I would ask you a clear specification. What do you mean of robo umps? Are you talking about the automatic balls and strikes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Something, once again, they're working with us in the minor leagues, and I say, it's out of my control. It's if it's going to happen, they're going to pass it through the different channels, and the umpire union, the players association, and the committee, and it looks like it's coming. I mean, they're doing it in 15 cities in AAA, and they're doing some stuff in the lower minor leagues. So I say, it's coming. So once again, you're going to have to hop on board.
Mike Everett joining us here. There's the other part of your profession that gets scrutinized, and that's the digitized strike zone that we see on TV. When your reaction when you hear people commenting about they can see it on TV, which is what they perceive as the strike zone, where balls are outside of that box. How do you deal with that as an umpire?
Well, I mean, of course, when you're on the field, you don't see it. But I mean, of course, you're watching a game and you see it. It can be pretty frustrating. But it wasn't a few days ago, there was an article, I think by Jeff Passan. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but our boss, Mike Hill, who's senior president of the umpiring department, he came out and just spoke about how umpires get graded, and it's different from what you see on TV, the box. And that box is not going to be, to my knowledge, it's not going to be like what, the automated balls and strike system is going to be. That box is simply for viewing pleasure, and it gives kind of an idea, kind of a, idea for the fans. But hey, it creates some controversy. It creates some, dialogue and excitement about the game, I guess. But it's not what the umpires get graded on. They get graded every day. A major league umpire, works the plate. There's a system in place. It's called the ZE system, and every pitch is tracked. And a guy, an umpire will get a readout the next day, and that will, grade his performance at the plate. So, but it's not the same thing as the box on TV.
Mike, let me ask you something, because it's always interesting. People I hear this in the NBA a ton, right? Sometimes people just want you to be able to communicate. You know, I coach in football. So a lot of times coaches just want an explanation. In baseball, it's different because it's so frequent. You can't always go back and forth. How fine a line is it between open communication or where there may be an explanation, let's say like with a strike zone, but you don't want to have rabbit ears and lose control?
Well, I think part of the reason why they brought on with instant replay the announcement, having the crew chiefs come on and announce what the team is challenging and what call they're challenging, and then after they go to replay, coming back and announcing the results. I think that's what they wanted to kind of emulate a little bit of how football does. The football, of course, it's just different, So at this point, the umpires aren't going to, get in the weeds and try to go over a complex rule situation. They're just going to come on and announce that, Omaha is challenging the out at second base.
Mm-hmm.
And then after replay coming back and saying, after review, the call was reversed. The runner is safe. Omaha retains its challenge. And so, there's that set thing that goes through there, but they're not going to, get into the weeds of explaining a complex rule or something like that. But once again, that might develop into something that they would expand in future years.
Is it true that there is a magic word as an umpire to toss a guy? Is there a magic word that was sent your way in your long time as a major league umpire that you said, that's it, gots to go situation?
Well, anything following you is very important. So, that's always a key. Once you say you, your, it gets very, very personal and hurry. So, but so that's a given. And there's certain things that just are automatic ejections in baseball. If someone thinks if you throw a bat to the screen after a strike, called strike three, I mean, that's automatic. If you draw a line, showing an umpire where you thought the pitch, there's just automatic things. But certainly something following you is very important to listen to, and usually that's not going to keep you in the game after you get that personal.
Hey, do you have an animated story of an ejection?
No, I don't think an animated, but I truly thought probably I think it was, I don't know what year it was, 97, 98 when I was going the AAA and the big leagues. I had a plate game in Detroit and had 4 or 5 ejections. So I remember calling my wife and saying, I just worked my last major league game. It didn't go too well. And luckily I had a supervisor that stood up for me and believed in me and worked with me and put me with another crew and didn't give up on me. So, when you get that many ejections in one game, it just kind of domino effect. And it was a tough day professionally, but it's something to help me grow. And I had a supervisor that believed in me. So I don't really have a specific, a story or there's those kind of stories, have specific dates I have in mind that are very special in my career. But at the end of the day, I don't even know how many ejections I had in my career.
You were a part of, and this is 18 years ago, or almost not 19 years now. And if instant replay was in place back in 2003, you would have been validated. But what was it like? You're the left field line umpire, Game 6, NLCS 2003, Cubs and the Marlins pop up near the stands, and here comes Moises Alou over to the railing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those defining times in my career, really. I mean, if things would have worked out differently and the attention didn't go to Steve Bartman and they went to Mike Everett, my career might have taken a different path. I'm confident it would have still been a major league umpire, but things might have changed. And I often tell people, like, especially here in the Midwest, a lot of Cubs fans, I say, if I go speak at a club or go speak somewhere, I just say, where were you in 2003 when the Cubs were 5 outs away from the World Series? And, they all tell me and they're all excited. And then I tell them where I was, and excitement is drained from the crowd. And they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you were and, as an umpire, I just recall that, Chicago was electric. I mean, you could feel the ground kind of rumbling there at Wrigley Field. And at that time, if you don't work a lot of 6 umpire systems. You only work 6 umpires during the playoffs. You work 4 during the season, and it's different. It's different seeing a ball off the bat when you're on the line. And it's different when you have to, have different coverages. So I remember the ball going up, and I just knew my job was to, that was my ball. And I went out, and at that time, the bullpen was right there in left field. One of the bullpens, and I kind of went over a hill. It wasn't real level Wrigley Field at that time, and I just said, "Wow!" I just tried to pick up the ball. Then, of course, I'm picking up the fielder, and I just see a bunch of hands. And my job was to determine whether it was fan interference or not, and I judged it wasn't. And Lou was not real happy, and I was still to this day kind of shocked. Dusty Baker didn't come out. He come out of the dugout, but then we all know, a couple missed plays there afterwards happened, and Cubs ended up losing that series in 7. So very defining moment, and something I'll never forget.
Mike, we appreciate it.
This
is good stuff. Hey, one thing. This is from a listener who, and we actually, in a town that produces a lot of really high level officials or umpires, and we have quite a few people that umpire in our listening audience. Mike asks, what makes a good umpire, regardless of level?
Well, you have to love the game. Number one, you have to love the game, and then you have to be patient in your development. I believe you have to meet somebody that has that experience, and you have to work games. You have to work a lot of games, and you've got to hopefully get kind of a mentor or a group around you that can, teach you the basic fundamentals, and then you just have to have that fire in your belly. You have to have that fire in your belly to know that when you come out, when there's 2 umpires and you got 25 on one side and 25 on the other, that you've got your partner on the field, and that's basically all you have. And then you have to just have a tremendous amount of pride to try to do the very best possible job you can, and be patient with your development. And it depends on what level you want to go to. If you just want to be a good excellent high school umpire or college, or you want to get into professional baseball and hopefully make it to the big leagues. But you have to be confident, but you have to be approachable, and you just have to be that fire in your belly that you really, really love it, and you want to give back to the game in that way.
Mike, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mike.
You're welcome. Yes, very, very much appreciate you guys putting me on, and look forward to do it again someday.
Yeah, thanks. That's Mike Everett, former Major League umpire who was in the bigs for 23 years, worked 3 World Series, numerous playoffs. He was also, I think, because I was trying to my head when he was talking about the day he worked in Detroit where he had 4 to 5 ejections. I believe there was a brawl. Like when Phil Garner was the manager of the Tigers, I think that was the Tigers and the White Sox had a brawl, and he was behind the plate. But long career, and now he's a supervisor. So he's out at Warner Park quite often, trying to find the next Mike Everett to move up to the majors, which is not easy. But pitch clock and robo umpires are coming to the major leagues.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be an ejection or two, as that does become a point of contention with major league umpires. All right, 8:28. Scott Shanley will join us within the hour. Jimmy Watkins stops by as well on this Monday edition of Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone.
42 degrees. Plenty of options. I've got to stop there today, right? Just need a little pick me up, my moon boost, and a little CLAs. I'm out, right? Notice the old vitamins were a little low this morning. Stopping out the health and wellness portion, been a huge difference for me, right? Just trying to create a better version of myself. I'm not one of those folks that enjoys prescriptions and going to the doctor and kind of guessing on what I'm, taking. But I will try different things based on what the data says. And for 42 degrees, gosh, such a friendly staff and incredibly knowledgeable. So from the L-carnitine to the CLAs to the immune boost to my cognitive, even to the stuff for my dogs, just more energy, feeling better, feeling stronger. I'd rather be caught with than without. And that can be you too. Uh, Always options to stop on out. Right by your mom's house, it's 42 degrees.
So ever since PJ Fleck has been in Minnesota, he has recruited this area very aggressively. I think would like to have a Nebraskan or two on his roster. They went very hard after Xavier Betts. They had Avante Dickerson as a commit, but they are all over Omaha and the state of Nebraska. And they have come in with an offer for Cade McIntyre at Fremont Bergen. So if you've seen him play, especially if you saw when Fremont Bergen was in the state final last year, that game, probably for the most of the state, that's the only time they've seen him play. Great athlete. Kansas State has already offered. Now Minnesota has come in and offer. What happens next to somebody that could play maybe a hybrid position, outside linebacker? I mean, he's just a really, really good athlete where you find a spot on the field for him. But, when a Big Ten school comes in, the follow-up question is, what about the hometown Big Ten school?
Yeah, I think at some point we're going to move on from that. I really do, especially once the Zane Flores thing happened, right? Because I think now people there's been so much other success here with other schools. I just don't think people look at Nebraska as the question mark or the benchmark. Now they look like they're the ones that's doing something wrong, and all the other schools are onto something, right? So it's like, I just don't think Nebraska wants to feel pressure. I think they want to trust their evaluation system, whatever it is. And listen, I'm not speaking for them. I'm telling you what I am, but not as a representative. I'm telling you what I think they're trying to do. I think that they have a process. And that's the one that they want to adhere to. They just don't want to get in the business of being reactionary, because I think they're paranoid. It's cost them in the past. Not necessarily on the local level, but I think getting outside of what they normally envision has definitely cost them. And it's led to a lot of turnover.
And I think in-state guys, if Nebraska moving forward with recruiting is in a good spot, they identify all of the prospects right away in-state. And they start their evaluation process early.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody that meets what they're looking for or jumps off the film at them, boom, scholarship. Not to say that Cade McIntyre might not get a Nebraska scholarship, but I agree with you. I think the ones they evaluate right away, they make a move.
Yeah, and he's a
And that's the way
super,
to
like,
do it.
there's a lot he can do. I mean,
it's a good offer.
Cade
It's
and
a good bite.
like both of them. And
it's a good offer by K-State and Minnesota, if you think about it.
Yeah. And Coach Collins, those guys, and you know what Connor Riley and Coach Brown and those guys already do in the area. And, Minnesota they're establishing a presence. Tyson Terry just came back from there. I think they know what they're looking for.
Well, and they can come into the state and recruit, and they're comfortable because they can go, have you seen us the last couple of years?
Yeah. Records against the West are definitely something that comes up a ton.
I wonder if, hey, can you check on this for me? Do you think Nebraska, in their recruiting department, they have a board strictly devoted, or a section of their board, or some data point of former in-state players that are playing elsewhere for portal consideration?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question. Think they'd like to go back and revisit it?
Well, if you have an in-state prospect that you offered and didn't say yes to you, or you didn't offer that went somewhere else, that you pay attention to if by chance they get into the portal. Because there's now enough players that come from this state that you could have a nice little list.
Yeah. Bryson Williams was one that came to mind. If he were to become available, this was a couple years ago. I know it was like on the radar.
I think
because remember, they didn't get him down the stretch when they first got here. I don't know if there's like a list, but I do know that there were some ones that they would have wanted.
Just pay attention of, hey, what about that guy out in the West Coast? He's got a new coach. Maybe he's not happy. Keep the door open, the relationship going. All right. The relationship with Scott Chanley, strong. We got questions. Another busy week in the NFL. Doubleheader, or two games that are going to happen in week number 2. One's going to be on ESPN. One's going to be on ABC. You got Minnesota and Philadelphia. You got Tennessee and Buffalo. Those were announced today on Good Morning America. Aikman and Buck, the new Monday night team. This is schedule release week. I bet Scott Shanley loves this week.
Yeah.
I bet he
know.
doesn't sleep much this week.
Oh, yeah. It's all about the schedules.
The schedules will be released on Thursday. A couple of the international games have come up.
I'm going to stay up, man, a couple of nights in a row. Seriously. It's
Oh, I mean, I've already gone win, loss, win, win.
Wait, do you know who you guys are playing?
I know who are playing week 2. The Amazon game between the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Well, I know who the Eagles are playing week 2 on their home opener. They're playing the Vikings. ABC. It was just released like an hour ago. Did you mention it?
He was paying attention. My man stays on delay.
Oh, did you guys mention it? I was probably listening to something else. I was probably editing. Watching Doctor Strange.
Just about a minute ago.
Just about a minute
It's
ago.
okay.
Oh. Well, I was editing. Oh,
it was
now
on
delay.
it was on TV earlier.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You might have been taking a restroom break from drinking too much. I mean, your 2 hours had been up. I can't believe you this dude just ingested the 2 little baby pints. Don't you get those in school? Those little
It's still real to me,
measured Blue Bunny cups?
Mm-hmm.
And you splurged. You had 2, Shane?
I need to get my swole on.
Oh, wow. Me and my partner, 2 Shanes.
Last week, I'm the club champion.
El
Champion.
When's he coming back on the show?
He's funny.
He's got some opinions.
Oh, yes, he does.
He's got some strong opinions.
He is hilarious.
When is he coming back on the show?
Well, he does some morning work now.
Well, he's not on till 8.
Is that what time they go on?
We'll just get him on at 6 and he can blow up the whole show and then depart, and then we'll pick up the pieces. Scott Shanley's next on Sharp Betting in the Morning.
Hey, you have chronic joint pain, like knees, hips. You wake up a little slow motion. Think, is slow motion really better than no motion? It's time to think about an exciting new way to treat joint pain with biologic therapies and regenerative solutions. I'm talking about QC Kinetics. It's available now. Lots of people have called already. You got to make sure you're one of them. They're the nation's leader in helping people deal with chronic pain with no surgery, no drugs, no steroids, and no downtime. I'm telling you, biologic solutions help your body heal itself. If you have joint pain due to arthritis or lower back pain or even shoulder pain, you need to change the way that you think about pain treatments. Discover biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. Get moving again and get your life back with no surgery and the key, no drugs. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more. That's 402-205-4960. Regenerative, restorative, real pain, real relief. That's 402-205-4960. It's 402-205-4960.
All right, welcome back in. Sharp and Bang in the morning. Let's welcome in Husker Super Bowl champion, Scott Shanley. Good morning.
Good morning.
Were you one of the rare people that went with the superfecta that included Rich Strike on Saturday?
No, I was not one of those. I was not one of those fortunate ones who was a part of that. No, incredible race though. Incredible.
You don't strike me as. Do you get into horse racing at all?
I'm not a big horse racing guy. I follow it along with the mainstream social media, but no, I have no idea what's upcoming. I'm more of a follower than looking at it up front.
Hey, one thing that popped last week in the NFL, and the NFL never stops, and I know we're going to spend about 10 minutes with you talking about the schedule release. I kid. But one of the things that came up last week is we appreciate athletes that are honest. But then there's sometimes that maybe you're too honest. What were your thoughts? Because this became quite the conversation in the NFL with players, with fans, with media, with coaches, when Ryan Tannehill said he doesn't think it's his job to mentor Malik Willis. What were your thoughts about that for a guy that has been a young guy in the NFL and then was an older guy in the NFL?
I think anybody who played understands the sentiment, and it's up to each individual guy, depending on where they are in their career and what type of security they have. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill doesn't have much security. That's why they drafted Malik Willis. So I understand it from the quarterback's perspective. And I think that's really Ryan Tannehill said out loud what the majority of guys in the NFL probably feel. And I don't think he should have said it. I think that was the biggest problem I had with it is when you're the leader of a team and anytime you're the franchise quarterback, you're the CEO of the company. I think it reveals your character a little bit, and then guys in your locker room start looking at you differently when they know you don't have the best interest of our team at heart. Because if Malik Willis is better than you and you're not helping him in the meeting room and we can't be as good as we can be, then you're part of the problem. So I don't think he should have said it. The older I got, when I got to year 10 and I knew my time in the NFL was over, really year 8, 9, 10, we had a great group of guys in our locker room, in our linebacker room. We had undrafted free agent Jonathan Casillas out of Wisconsin. He was a really talented player, and he played the same position as I did. But I think I got satisfaction in being an older guy, knowing my time was coming to an end, and helping him out. And then when I was done playing, JC, he went to Tampa Bay. He went to New England, won a Super Bowl, finished his career with the Giants. He grew up in New York, New Jersey. And I think it's rewarding when you give back to the game and those guys can carry on that tradition and then become leaders themselves and give back. And I think that's how you continue to keep the game growing. But I think Ryan Tannehill said what most of the guys think. He just probably shouldn't have said it out loud.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I thought about that a ton. And I remember going through this a little bit with Berline and Kerry Collins in Carolina. And the interesting thing is I think some of it depends on what your history is, on what you can get away with, what you say. And Tannehill wasn't always known as like a great locker room guy in Miami, which I think had a lot of, peers really looking at him sideways as if to say, man, you still haven't really learned. It's a 3rd-round pick, not a guy that was drafted to start tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another great point is that if he would have been taken in the top 10, people are viewing him as a day one starter. Mm-hmm. And so maybe Ryan can get away with those comments. So it's a great point. But it's one of those things as well where Ryan Tannehill everybody looks at him as everyone says, you're the reason we didn't beat the Bengals. You didn't play well enough. You threw interceptions. And so he's already on edge. Yeah. They draft a quarterback who a lot of people had a round 1 grade on. He's sitting there like, man, I'm withholding all the information I can from this guy because they're trying to replace me. It's a replacement business. Everybody's trying to be replaced, but some people are really, really trying to be replaced. And if you're the quarterback who's being blamed for not getting your team to the Super Bowl, you're probably on thin ice. So I think obviously those sentiments, like I said, resound throughout the NFL. Guys always withhold information from talented young players to try to prolong their careers. But I think if I was a guy in that locker room, I'd be looking at Ryan Tannehill like, man, you didn't play well enough to get us to the Super Bowl, and now you're not going to help a guy who was drafted. Let the best man win and see if we can become the best team we can.
And the quarterback transition, doesn't this discussion and what started last week with Tannehill, doesn't it make the Alex Smith, the Patrick Mahomes seem rare and rare? Or it also tells you what kind of a person Alex Smith is to handle that year and then handing it over to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is rare. And I think, from all the people that talked about Mahomes when he got there, they could tell he was extremely talented. And Alex Smith, we all as players have a hard time admitting that somebody else is better than us. But I think Alex Smith could sit there in that year in Kansas City and say, wow, this young kid is going to be special. And Alex Smith was honest enough with himself to know no matter what he did, no matter what information he withheld about a coverage or a look on defense, that this kid was going to be the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think it's all about being honest with yourself as a veteran player and knowing that, hey, sometimes Father Time gets you and you're no longer skilled, or this young guy coming in is just better than you and is going to beat you out. So why not help him out? Why not help him become the best player he can be, and then look out for yourself as far as going forward? And that's what Alex did. He got into a situation in Washington, unfortunately sustained that horrible injury, but he did a good job of being a good leader, and guys respect that in the locker room. And if Alex would have withheld information from Mahomes, it doesn't mean he's going to be the starting quarterback there for a couple more years. He was honest with himself, and I think guys earn a lot of respect by doing that.
Scott, what's the key? And I'm just looking at some of these acquisitions, and I just saw, late last week where the Chargers are going to take I wouldn't call it a flyer, but going to take a shot on Van Noy, and he was let go. When you're looking at those second level guys and when a team lets you go versus when a team doesn't let you go, what are the keys, do you think, to still maximizing when folks are thinking that window is still starting to close? Is it the studying? Is it I understand taking care of your body, but some positions just aren't built for longevity.
Yeah, that's really the key is you're looking at position by position. And then really what type of how the game is transitioned. Whereas, in the past you would keep 8 or 9 linebackers. Now some teams keep 5 linebackers if they're a 4-3 defense, and they're keeping more DBs. So I think that affects, that maybe your second tier of your career, if you played 5 years and now you're sitting there, because there's really some really good talented players still waiting to find a home.
Mm-hmm.
They let the draft play out a lot. A lot of those guys who are the guys we're talking about are going to sign 1-year deals, maybe prove it deals that I can still do this, and then sign a 2 or 3 year deal after that. So a lot of those guys, if they're signing a 1-year deal, like these guys are going to do, they let the draft play out. Let's see what teams draft young players. Let's see who sign guys in free agency. And so I think you're going to see a lot of talented players that maybe we've kind of forgotten about. I mean, Anthony Barr played a ton of football with the Minnesota Vikings, and he's still looking for a home at linebacker. I think you'll see this summer those guys sign 1-year deals with teams around the league. And like I said, there's a lot of talented football players out there, but it's a young man's game, and teams, because of the salary cap, the salary cap is another big issue that we can't forget about in this conversation. Teams are giving a ton of money to wide receivers now, to quarterbacks, and so they're filling out the rest of their roster with cheap rookies at linebacker and tight end and these other positions.
I'm curious to see where a guy like Sue lands. He's in that discussion you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Sue will probably sign a 1-year deal. He's going to look for the best fit for him. He just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. It's been a really good team the last 2 years. He's not going to want to go to a team that's going to go 3-14. So he's going to look for the best possible fit for him. And I'm sure once the season gets closer and teams go through off-season work, even the start of training camp, once teams start to see their depth, you will have teams making phone calls to talented players like Ndamukong Suh.
And they've drafted an interior defensive lineman. They've got little cap space. They've got their draft picks to sign. They've got Gronkowski, whatever they're going to do with him. He's 35. He's still got some football left in him. What about football being left in Tyrann Mathieu signing with the Saints? What's your thoughts on bringing him back to town?
Well, I love the signing. And, I think his play has decreased a little bit. And it was a big reason why Kansas City didn't bring him back. But I think even with that decreasing in playmaking and maybe physicality at his size, I think what he's going to bring to the locker room as a leader on that side of the ball will be extremely worth every penny, especially this first year. I don't know the terms of the deal. I know it was a 3-year deal, but sometimes those things are pushed out by the agent. It could be a 1-2 year deal based on guaranteed money. But I think he's going to bring tremendous leadership. You have a kid coming home who went by the Superdome every day. He's returning home. A lot of times that can reinvigorate you as a veteran player. Going back home in your 30s can make you feel like a little boy again driving by that Superdome and dreaming of playing in the NFL. So I love the signing mostly because of what I think he can bring versatility-wise to the defense. But as a leader, they need it on the defensive side of the ball. They lost a lot of really good veterans. They still have Demario Davis, but Malcolm Jenkins retired. Marcus Williams, their starting safety last 4 or 5 years, is now in Baltimore. So they need his veteran leadership on the defense. And I don't know if there's many guys defensively you could have signed better in free agency to do that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, with Jenkins leaving, he was kind of the captain. Different players, because of Matthews' versatility, Jenkins was getting a little more one-dimensional. Could you see like a natural fit for what they want to do, even though they are different players outside of the leadership?
Yeah, they signed Marcus May, who was a high round draft pick and was injured with the
Little
Jets.
boxier.
I think they look at him. Yeah, I think they look at him as more of a middle of the field safety. The one thing about Tyrann, he's going to be in a great defense because Dennis Allen is a very multiple guy. He is going to put you in different positions to take advantage of what your strengths are. And I think he's going to be down in the box. He'll be on backs. He'll be blitzing him a lot. He's going to find a way to take advantage of what he does well. And he's a ball disruptor. I mean, There's a lot of great defensive players, but if you're a ball disruptor, meaning you're forcing fumbles, you're recovering fumbles, you're getting interceptions, those guys are invaluable on defense. And I think that's the one thing they loved about him in free agency.
Hey, Scott, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great week.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott Shanley. There are still some fairly big names that are free agents that are out there, from OBJ to Landry to Clowney.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Clowney's still asking for too much. Plus, I don't think he wants to go to camp anytime soon. But Sue will be interesting because again, he could change it. Barr needs a select fit, but NFL, man, just keeps coming. There's going to be a lot of good teams. It's not just going to be top heavy. It's going to be a spectacular season. Spectacular.
I wouldn't worry about Sue. He'll be back.
I don't think he'll be back in Tampa.
Yeah,
he's the king of 1-year contracts. I mean, he's the guy that basically invented that. So
did see the Steelers are bringing back Whaley for his second interview for general manager in Buffalo.
Where's Riddick?
Well, they got 3 guys that they're going to have in for second interviews. They have really taken their time.
They were fortunate to have a legend in that role.
Yeah.
So they could take their time.
I'm patient.
Sue is going to be 35. Anybody want to gauge how much longer he plays?
I don't know.
What does he have left to accomplish? Really nothing.
He's done it all.
I mean, on and off the field?
He's done it all.
35. And he'll have a home to pick. Or he could go back to Tampa but he would keep a draft pick off the field.
Yeah.
Has he been the highest paid player in a year? Like for the full year, like the number one guy? I mean, is that what's left?
3 years ago, his last deal in.
I don't think that's a big thing to him.
Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, he
wants to win.
He got his money. He's now got a ring.
Right.
Now he's got 1 or 2 more years left in the NFL. All right, we've got an hour left of Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone. All right, kicking off the last hour, we welcome in. We're glad to have him, that he agreed to our offer to join us every Monday from the Omaha World Herald, Jimmy Watkins. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm well, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
I haven't signed the contract yet, but
So we're in the courting phase right now.
yeah, it's a wait and see type of thing.
We're still letting you pick the restaurant and things like that. Though it's only going to be for a little while longer, though.
Precisely.
Hey, I really enjoyed, and I highly recommend everybody buy a paper, read it, or if you have a digital subscription, your story on Quentin Newsom about his friend that he lost and his crew together, that they'll always remember their friend with a tattoo. What did you learn in this story about Quentin Newsom, Nebraska's soon-to-be sophomore cornerback?
I learned more about where he comes from, which is what I kind of try to do anytime I'm writing a story about someone. Quentin grew up in Hinesville, Georgia, in the southeast corner of the state, until he moved to Atlanta in high school. And his friend Albert Spud Doc, who is the friend that they honor with that tattoo, was a big influence on him growing up. Quentin basically said that this was a guy who believed in him before anyone else did. Knew the offers were coming before they came, and always believed that he would be doing what he's doing today. Unfortunately, Spud was killed in a car accident in 2019, and so Q and a bunch of his friends got a tattoo, a family tattoo, where the I is a syringe with blood in it, and the L is a 1, and the idea there is that it's one family, even though they don't actually have the same blood. As his friend Qualik said, if you took the syringe and every one of them and pulled it out, it would be a family. So I think they have a really cool thing going.
It's interesting too. He's one of those guys too that, especially the last 6-7 months, has really garnered steam. I said last year, I felt like once he cleaned up the tackling, he could be on the verge of being a legitimate all-conference caliber player. He played so young and kind of went through those early ups and downs. What do you think he gleaned that he could take with him? And kind of, I wouldn't call it a prove it year, but it is a pivotal year for him back there as the leader in that secondary.
Absolutely, they're positioning him as sort of the guy. Him and Miles Farmer. I think Scott singled both of them out in a radio interview recently as guys that he hopes assume the baton for leadership in that room. I mean, there's no better learning experience than trial by fire. And I think that he got a glimpse of what the Big Ten was like. There's no question that Quentin has the ability to be a good cover corner in the Big Ten. But I think it was Deontay Williams said it last year. Guys, teams were running the ball at him last year because they wanted to test how physical he played, because last year was his first time as full-time starter. And the results, 57 tackles, tied for fourth on the team, first in the secondary. I think he proved himself well. I think that next step is vocal leadership. You can even tell by the way he's handling himself during interviews that that's a focus for him. Last year, he was sort of a quiet, shy kid at the microphone. This year, you can tell he's made a concerted effort to sort of break out of that shell a little bit. So he understands the spotlight that's on him.
Hey, through spring with the secondary, what clarity did you get? I mean, there's Newsom, there's Hill, there's Clark, but what else is in that secondary that is very much a work in progress?
I think Marquise Buford is a name that we are going to hear here for a long time. I think he'll play maybe safety this year, but he's got a future at corner as well. He's like another guy I wrote about earlier this spring, and to hear the Travis Fisher and some of the older guys talk about him. Travis Fisher runs his defensive backs room like a college course. They have tests every week, and I believe you have to get at least like an 88 or something to even have a shot at playing. and that's never been an issue with Marquise. He's taken that scholarly approach to the game, which Fisher really appreciates. And he also, just looking at him, he looks cut. He looks like he's put on the requisite muscle that you need to make a leap that we expect him to make this year.
Jimmy, let me ask you something just from a perspective outside looking in, because Nebraska obviously in football hasn't won a ton of games. Basketball hasn't either, but Nebraska football has been able to capitalize on, at least early on paper, in the transfer portal. I think it's a little bit of revisionist history, though, because we liked Nebraska's basketball roster last year before the season started too. Why do you think those two things have been different in terms of momentum?
Well, I think that Nebraska football did a better job of adding some recruiting juice. And this is not anything that Adam Howard, the new Nebraska basketball coach, can control. He is newer at this.
Mm-hmm.
He is younger than Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple and Brian Applewhite, the guys who Nebraska brought in on the football side. But I think that's the difference. Mickey Joseph can bring a lot of guys in. He can bring Trey Palmer in because he knows Trey Palmer from LSU. He can bring a recruit like Dakotas Crawford with him, who was committed to LSU with him, because Mickey's body of work speaks for itself. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, those names carry weight with kids. We're gonna continue to see Nebraska land kids with the kind of recruiting background that maybe they weren't landing before, because Mickey has those kinds of names on his resume. Mark Whipple can walk into any recruit's house and say, I coached Ben Roethlisberger, I coached Kenny Pickett. These are two quarterbacks now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nebraska chose Adam Howard, who's a younger guy, has had some pretty good success in his recruiting background as well, but just doesn't have the same runway of experience that guys that like Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple had. So, and I think the other thing is that the Nebraska football brand still has some juice to it. I think there's still a recognition that while it pains everyone to hear it, they were close last year a lot of times. Whereas with the basketball program, we're talking about I think 6 losses of 20 plus points and a few other games that teetered on that kind of ugly. So that there's a couple of things at work there, and I think that there's Fred Hoiberg had a similar sort of sheen on his name with the program last year. I mean, you saw that they pulled in the top 20 recruiting class. Bryce McGowan's 5-star prospect chose to play there, and I think there was an inherent trust with Fred that because of his Iowa State success, because of his NBA background, that there was an inherent trust there for kids to come through. And you can see guys like Ramel Lloyd still showing up here. Jamarcus Lord, top 150 recruit, according to Rivals, so choosing to come here. That still exists to some degree. But I've been saying the whole last week, I think it's the Taylor Shireman situation happened last summer. I think he ends up choosing Nebraska just because of Creighton has come so far in the past year from where they were last year, and Nebraska had a lot of momentum behind them last summer. And a lot's changed.
Jimmy Watkins from the Omaha World-Herald with us. So last Monday we wake up and we discuss on the show the impact of a Mathis and a Drew out of the portal. We could wake up next Monday and talk about the impact potentially of a Kane Williams and Lamar Goods. You know what the discussion was like last Monday? What would be the discussion if Nebraska, and they're both scheduled to visit campus this weekend, the defensive back from Alabama, the defensive lineman from Florida, what would be the impact if both of those guys say yes to Nebraska and transfer here?
I think for Goods, that would be a huge weight off of the shoulders of a guy like Ty Robinson, who we remember openly welcomed some help in the portal. So that would be a huge addition. They've already made huge progress along that defensive line, although Mathis is not a guy who would maybe spell Robinson as often. I think when we talk about the Alabama kid, I mean, with those kids with those kinds of recruiting pedigrees, and I mean, anyone who comes from Alabama, you wonder why they left, of course, but to have the talent to land there in the first place, that's intoxicating. You can't, there are certain things that you can't coach about players in that situation. So it would be a talent boost for an already talented secondary room, and the idea that they're pursuing him suggests to me that maybe he has a shot at moving in there for some playing time as well.
That's interesting. I'm trying to, you want to, I'm always paying attention, right? Kane Williams, I was talking about this a little last week. Doesn't have a ton of film. He's played on special teams a lot. Just for Nebraska to kind of make the push. I'm just wondering, with all the new secondary additions they had in the offseason, is somebody or somebody's not meeting what the expectation level of what they thought, right? I mean, a Singleton was supposed to be that guy. I guess I was a little surprised to see the interest garnered in the secondary to try to free up a scholarship.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about what Deshaun Singleton is going to bring. Even, I think if not right away, I think by the end of the year, I think he's a guy that's going to be a full-time starter. He's the tools that he has, his size, his combination of size and speed is really impressive. I think Travis Fisher just runs that room. He has first of all, he has the leeway to run that room however he wants. And second of all, he runs it like it doesn't matter whether you're meeting expectations or not. It's quite possible that Nebraska feels good about what they've got, the safety spot. They go, hey, here's another talent that we can bring in, and we're not going to shy away from doing that. The scholarship count is a delicate thing, of course, but if Travis Fisher, I'll say this, Travis Fisher carries a lot of weight on that staff. He's very well respected. So I think if he was to stand up and say, hey, this guy is legit, regardless of the reason, and I will allow for the fact that it's possible that someone isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think regardless of the reason, he would have the freedom to go pursue that guy.
Hey, the portal on the other side of the highway over at Pinnacle Bank Arena, you have any feel for, last year Nebraska, anybody that went into the portal and they would release who's contacted him, Nebraska would inevitably be listed. This year they've been more selective, but their roster could, whatever Trey McGowan's does, whatever Lat Mayen does, they could add a body. You have any feel on if they add somebody out of the portal who it might be and when?
They told us what they need, right? They went after Baylor Shireman. They went after Antonio Reeves. Those are two primary creators. I don't know that there's a ton of those left in the portal. I think we might, at this point, it's possible that Sam Griesel could be that guy. But they have been connected to Courtney Ramey, 6'3" transfer out of Texas. He's a guard who 2 years ago, I think, was around 12 points a game, 4 assists. Has some impressive skills as a passer, can throw across court, get past fine shooters in the opposite corner. He's impressive as a playmaker. The catch there is that he's not a very efficient scorer. In 4 seasons at Texas, he never shot better than 40.1% from the field, which is obviously not great. Another kid that they've been linked to is Umaha Gibson from Oklahoma, who started his career at North Texas. He's smaller, 6'1". Nebraska has been leaning towards more size during this offseason to help improve their defense and just improve their odds against the Big Ten, which, as we know, is a big physical league. Umaha Gibson is not – he shows playmaking flashes when you watch him play, but he's never been – I don't know if he's ever even averaged more than like 2 assists. I think it's maybe like 2.1 around there is his career high. So, and he is not has not been a particularly efficient scorer for most of his career either. Although last year he did just have his most efficient scoring year yet and was the leading scorer at Oklahoma. So I say that to say I don't think there are perfect portal options really available anymore. But you got to work with what you got, and I do think that Fred, with the spacing that Nebraska can put on the floor at times, and the way Fred makes it easier on his guards, you could see a guy come in and have a bump in production and efficiency. But it is hard to do both of those things at the same time.
Agree. Jimmy, thank you. We appreciate it. Look forward to you joining the lineup with us.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy.
So Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald. Now, not a
hard to believe you like Nebraska's roster better this year at this time than you did a year ago.
Football.
No, basketball.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You don't find it odd that you don't remember the whole how they were shooting in the off season and from behind the arc and the talents of getting Verge, and I'm not misremembering.
You're saying the roster last year compared to this year.
Yes.
Liked it last year.
Yeah. Before the games were actually played, we liked Nebraska's roster. Hard to think that you like this roster more even after last year's results.
Got to find out who's going to score.
No, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. You got to go find somebody that can score from the perimeter.
Hey, so did we just act like Shannon Lum just didn't leave like overnight?
No, we did. We discussed that, or we were not on the same show.
Yeah, just going to Dallas, like, okay, because
they've had some departures.
I felt like that flew under the radar. We celebrated the hire, and then it was like, oh,
yeah,
that was a good 6 months.
That opportunity with the Mavs came up, and she was out.
Yeah, outro. Okay.
So they have added. So Cale Jacobson, who played at Ashland Greenwood and had 43 in the C1 semi. He's someone like Milliken, who seems like they were in high school forever. But he suffered a knee injury as a junior, and that stunted his ability to play before college coaches. And, Omaha had a lot of interest in the previous staff. He had gotten an offer from North Dakota, and I said, he's not going to North Dakota. Well, he accepts the preferred walk-on offer at Nebraska. And that's kind of been a spot or two or three that have been reserved for Nebraska kids.
Mm-hmm.
He's maybe the best that has taken one of those spots.
He's a good player.
He is extremely skilled. And
he's got a good frame too, which is perhaps my favorite.
I mean,
he's in fantastic shape.
He's 6'4", 185.
Yeah, he's got a really good frame.
And he turns down a mid-major offer to walk on at Nebraska. And that's a bonus for Nebraska to get somebody with his talent to say no to a Summit League offer and come and take your offer. And whatever works out, he may get to play a little bit, and then maybe you follow the path of Charlie Easley if you don't see a path at Nebraska, is you've got enough tape, you've played, and you want to go and be on scholarship somewhere, so you go and get that offer. Like Easley has gone to South Dakota State. Now, I think Jacobson is better than Easley. But he said one interesting thing this weekend.
That would be interesting to compare their high school careers because Charlie Easley was way good. Way good. He was legit.
And Charlie has worked out well at South Dakota State. Yeah. But Cale said one thing, because the question,
you got to get into probably upside.
The question becomes, okay, how are you going to fit with the team? And he's a very low maintenance kid. I mean, good family. He said that he can be one of those culture builders in the locker room.
Mm.
My God, my head's going to explode about culture of Nebraska men's basketball this week.
Well, you need it, though. It's like we hate talking about it, but they obviously are continuing to try to work on it. Like, it's a real thing.
Oh, it's definitely a real thing when the players bring it up and the coach brings it up. But when is it going to get fixed?
Yeah, I don't know.
When is that going to get fixed?
They got some work to do, my guy.
I mean, a guy that is walking on could be a key to helping the culture in the locker room.
You definitely have some.
Thankfully, you're getting a guy that's low maintenance and is not going to be an issue. But what the?
My favorite, you don't need a babysitter?
Yeah. What did the phrase I use with Chuck on the West Side roster? Then on the last guy on the bench. Don't be like I said, don't be not a distraction. Don't give them a reason to say we don't want you around.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Hey, stick around. We need you here.
I mean, everybody needs one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Cale Jacobson is one of those, but at some point, I gotta fix it, or it can't be a discussion point.
At what point?
Well, I'm sure they'll come with winning, but
August. What if we're talking about culture in August?
no. You know what?
November.
We're going to be talking about this in January.
Well, I hope not. Now that's a problem.
But now we may be talking about it. Man, you know what? The culture is better.
All right. Well, I'll see where you're at in January.
But who is the leader of? I mean, you bring in a guy from North Dakota State and Sam Griesel, he will definitely help with the locker room.
Tweet at him right away too. Yeah, he's good. High character.
A leader.
High character guy.
But he's only going to be here for a year.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's all it takes. Leave it better than you got it.
I mean, we keep relying on these guys that are going to be here for 6 to 7 months. No knock on them for when they
And
arrive.
they have to usually play right away, man. That's
to be the
kind of
culture
stuff
guy.
They've got to. That's where they got to start doing things differently.
All right, 9:27. Joker is the MVP in the NBA. The NFL schedule is coming out, and I just took a look at the Big Ten baseball standings. Ooh. We may be the reason why there are butts in seats because of all the tickets we're going to give away.
Well, you keep saying they're going to be there.
It now might be an upset to be there. Yes. Sure. I'm betting in the morning at 16:20 the zone.
In deeper now. Bruins get to it and will clear. Marchand ahead of the play. D'Angelo threw his stick and Marchand scores. The empty netter.
All right, that series is 2-2. St. Louis, Minnesota 2-2. Tampa Bay, Toronto 2-2. Kings and Edmonton, for some reason, is 2-2. Pittsburgh, Rangers could be 2-2. Washington, Florida could be 2-2. Calgary, Dallas could be 2-2. Colorado, Nashville could be over.
Looking for Florida and Washington to be 3-1. That's a nice little answer after Florida got off to the quick start, too. You're like, ooh, they're going to waste that good home crowd. That place was raucous Saturday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, folks holding replica trophies, trying to inspire the Caps. Hey, remember, we're experienced. We've been here. We've done that. The Pens kicking extra points. Wow.
Love me some third period Penguins.
There's usually one. So far, there's been one period.
Second period.
Where they,
first
where
game,
they, where
third
they,
period the other night.
where they erupt.
The NBA is back tonight. You have Game 4 between Milwaukee and Boston. And then you have Game 4 between Golden State and Memphis. Golden State could care less what Memphis is saying about the play between Poole and Morant. Now, remember, Memphis during the regular season, they played quite a few games without Morant. They won 80% of those games.
I thought they were like 20-2 or something like that.
Don't discount Memphis in this game, but that's going to be awful tough. But I like that we've got a nice little feud brewing. The Grizzlies are, they got a feud brewing with the T-Wolves. Now they've got this going with Golden State. I like these young and upcomers.
I told you, you could see it coming. Overexposed. They could go from lovable to unlikable. Like this, the way they play, how much they talk, they chirp. They were a great mid-market, low, story. Now it's like, yeah, I don't really like these guys.
See, here's the problem. They're playing a team that could care less what they're saying in Golden State. They're not going to play that game. And they've got a couple of guys that'll give it right back to you, and you go, oh, dang. Now what do we say?
Yeah, 20-5 without Ja.
That's not bad. I mean, that's quite amount of games to play without him.
Yeah, that's it. There's your 80% though, right on the dot.
But the Boston-Milwaukee series, which trying to figure out Giannis, Tatum. Giannis had 42, Tatum had 10 in Game 3, which cannot happen.
Well, his shooting woes continue.
Well, they couldn't hit anything behind the arc again, just like happened in Game number 1. But I was making a rankings. The knock on Giannis is it becomes full bully ball. And he just plows guys over to get to where he wants to go.
He's the most unguardable guy in the league.
So I made a list of 5 here of guys that in consideration of straight out bully ball players in the NBA history. Like when they get the ball and they try and run you over, you're not stopping them. Wilt would be number 1. Shaq would not be very far behind. And then you got a combination of Giannis, LeBron, and a guy who seemed like every time I remember as a kid growing up watching the Sixers, Moses Malone would do this. He would be bully ball.
Moses Malone was pretty sweet. I think Charles belongs in that discussion. Barkley. Even though he was pretty skilled, I still enjoy listening to him try to tell me how he tried to eat his way out of Philadelphia, which, can you imagine?
Well, didn't James Harden do that in Houston?
Yeah. You guys keep telling me that was a suit.
You just didn't have the fat suit back when Barkley was playing. Unlike Harden, that he slipped it on in Houston. Got himself to Brooklyn. Now he got himself to Philadelphia, and all of a sudden he's got a new life because he's got his friend Embiid back.
More believable, Tupac is alive or Harden had on a fat suit?
Harden had on a fat suit. I will die on that hill.
Pac's still alive.
So is it a good or bad thing to be on the list of the best bully ball players? I mean, those guys are all Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I mean,
because LeBron, LeBron gets going downhill and he gets into bully ball style. You're not stopping him.
It's May 9th. Is he still a Laker?
He's still a Laker.
All right.
Wasn't he in Miami for Formula One?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow LeBron like that.
Well, he was, he came out with a statement that he'll never, ever again not be playing.
Yeah, in the playoffs, not missing it.
They locked in.
I did see that. I wasn't on social media much this weekend. If I wasn't watching boxing or some UFC, which was crazy because
There's an upset there too.
The weigh-ins had me all sorts of screwed up. Rose Namajunas was not good. There was some. This was a crazy weekend in the fight game. A lot of upsets. Folks get knocked out with their heel. I don't know. Weird.
I'm telling you, it was a throwback sports weekend. We were talking about boxing and horse racing. You would have thought we were in the 70s.
It reminds me of myself.
Locked in. Hey, what's your name again? Who are you? I'm Paulo Banchero. Yeah, I thought you were somebody else.
Okay, it's not Patrick. That's why he ignored me in the beginning. But what is your name, sir?
Now go ahead, let that ride, Shane. He's Paulo Banchero.
Paulo Banchero.
Right. Okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else, so I'm sorry about that.
Reminds me of me, locked in.
Hey, see, other than Holmes is a 6'10", I could see.
Would you stop?
No, you kind of look at him a quick glance.
No, Mahomes does not look like Paulo Banchero.
I still want to know why Banchero was like down there. That's like a big deal for him.
Getting his chill game right.
Seriously, take Martin Brundle and take him to the Iron Bowl and have him interview Alabama and Auburn people going to the game and get the reaction.
Better chance to recognize Seth Brindle.
Where's the reporter from?
He's from Sky Sports. He's from
UK, right?
No, I'm asking.
Yes,
I'm
he's
asking.
from
Okay,
Britain.
UK. So maybe now that's the reason why I asked. Maybe he only sees Patrick with the helmet on, like just during the game. Maybe they don't have Nebraska Furniture Mart commercials and all of that kind of stuff where he's at, where Patrick's just chilling on the couch with his wife talking about
6'11" quarterbacks,
talking about how good the furniture is there. Maybe he doesn't see those commercials.
You think he thinks like Glennon is Patrick Mahomes too? Do you even know?
He could.
That might be stretching his Rolodex.
You might be stretching the Rolodex, but he could think that.
I'm just asking, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
they run Nebraska Furniture Mart commercials there in the UK.
Yeah, there's not. I don't think you can, go down by Westminster Abbey and find the Nebraska Furniture Mart.
You can find us some kennel clubs though, where the dogs hang out.
You could.
I mean, he is worldly. Maybe Patrick has commercials there that they're running in the UK only. I don't know.
They have State Farm Insurance in the UK.
What is that? The guy that quarterbacks for the Packers?
That's a great question.
We're mixing up everything else. Shane, how many segments do you think you should have a show? 2, maybe?
No. Probably none. I mean, people are probably turning the dials right now. That Shane guy.
Single pizza, couple of ice creams.
Why the f*** is Shane walking
Didn't want to be full. Didn't want vertigo in the movie theater.
I'm 3 foot tall, you ass.
See, okay. So this guy is a lookalike that was at the Pro Bowl. Did you think he looked like Ben Carroll?
No.
Paulo Banchero.
I don't know why you're insinuating that all black people look alike.
Oh, they don't all look alike. But Banchero and Mahomes kind of share a little bit of a look.
They're both light skinned. That's it.
I think kind of the hair.
Wow.
And not everybody can pull off whatever Mahomes has going. What do you call that? The frohawk?
Yeah, it's about time for a new cut too, I think.
Well, and the guy's short too. I mean, all tall guys are just tall. So he got confused there.
Is that what you were saying to Teddy Prohaska the other day?
Pretty tall.
Which will still go down as one of the funniest pictures of all time.
That picture was at an angle, Damon. You took it at an angle, so it was all slighted.
Teddy and Brooke would be a good picture.
That would be. And then you throw in the guy from the Harlem Globetrotters. Wasn't he 7 foot?
I think Brooke is 6'2".
It is indeed.
Maybe. She may have had on heels that day. I can't remember.
No, I think she's a little taller.
Way taller than Shane.
Yeah.
See, I will give so there was a picture that was from TCU, and I think he was 6'10". And so I interviewed him at the end of a game. It is all about the angle because I was dwarfed.
Oh,
but if you took it from a different angle, it would look like we're the same height.
I'm pretty sure we were on the same.
But I could brag about that
same plane level.
I may look 5'11", but I'm 6'10".
4 feet from those guys in the same level floor. I didn't like stand up in the chair or get off to the side.
Oh, come on, Shane.
He did almost hit his waist, though. Teddy's right leg was about the same width too. He's a big kid. I told you he'd be the biggest guy we had in studio.
Yep. 6'9", 325.
A mountain of a man. Just be amazed when you watch him run.
Oh, yeah. And when I say 325, people are like, where?
Oh, I know. I know. He wears it well.
You can feel the buzz.
That's why I still think he has a chance to be Nebraska's highest draft pick in some time. Maybe since David.
That's what a NFL tackle looks like. That size.
Yes, indeed.
Over the weekend, it did come out that Cam Jurgens, he watched the draft at his grandmother's house.
That is so Cam.
And he also had to go to the basement because there was a tornado warning during the draft. So that's how he found out he got drafted, is when they were in the middle of a tornado warning.
Shoot. Would you expect anything different?
From Cam Jurgens? No. He is very much on brand.
Yep. Super on brand.
Yeah, it's not like he had a big old party and they, shut down the streets around Beatrice, or he made a big thing about it.
They did have some beef jerky.
Yes, they did. He's one guy that really has, I don't know if it's by design, he's been really, really quiet, like media stuff.
It's just how he is. And I keep telling you, I said this on my meltdown 8 months ago. You aren't here yet. I don't know how you don't cheer for him. I almost had a mini stroke on air. How do you not cheer for Cam Jurgens? It makes absolutely no sense.
Shane, work on that when he gets back from Philadelphia.
You're an idiot.
They certainly
like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook moment. He an idiot.
They certainly featured him on a lot of their social media this weekend of the rookies working out.
Because Kelsey's the most popular guy in that city on that football team, and Kelsey loves him.
That goes a long way. You embrace him.
Yeah. You think he's mentoring him?
Hello, Ryan Tannehill.
Nah, I'm just playing. Some things are better left unsaid, right?
Well, not that.
What he said didn't bother me. It wasn't going to move my needle one way or the other. I just wouldn't have said it.
Not everybody can be Jason Kelsey or Alex Smith.
Are you serious?
We're at the tail end of their career.
Most people think it.
Oh, it doesn't have to be football. It could be any business.
What was my analogy when you asked me the following day?
I mean, look at Shane. If there was a younger producer that comes into this building, and there plenty are, Shane might be like,
Hey, locked in. Hey, I need you to teach my new Xerox rep how to sell these copiers.
Yeah,
I'll do a couple of ride-alongs. Now, why would I do that? Well, he's younger and he's cheaper. I'll get right on that, boss.
Oh, so you want me to teach somebody how to do production and run the phones and type in 27 different passwords to get into
but see, you would hold off.
accounts?
You would hold off some knowledge. Yeah. Like there's a couple of things that you would keep to yourself that you don't want to give up your tricks.
And just download every single contact that I have on my phone. Just take it all. Just just take all my knowledge, everything that I have. Here, why don't you take
here we go.
Take my headphones. Take just here. Take it all. Everything. I would leave nothing on the table. Take it.
I will say this is a credit to him, and he no longer works with us, but is super excited the WNBA started. Nobody shared anything with George. When George became a producer first for Nick's show and then my show,
he just had to learn on the fly.
Like Stibbs didn't help him. Shane didn't help him. There was no one to help him. So he was like,
Stibbs was a good dude. He didn't help him. I don't mean was like he's moved on in life, but is a good dude.
Yeah, George said, like nobody like sat down and said, hey, this is what you do. George just kind of started, and him and Nick were just flying. He's like, yeah, no one, I didn't spend like a week with Shane or Stibbs, the two veteran producers in the building. They're just like, hey, if you want to keep your job, you're going to produce the middays. And he's like, oh, I like my job.
Guess I'm in.
Nobody did that when I was here. When I first came in, it was just, there you go. You're in with Gary Java. That's what it was.
Well, they knew your learning aptitude was so high, Shane. They just were like, you'd get it through osmosis or something. And just soak in.
That's
what I'd have thought.
Well, yeah, it's soaked in.
Regular genius.
Damn right.
Reminder, we will be out at Warner Park on Friday for the start of the state high school baseball tournament out at Warner Park. We will be in the Fred Huey suite of the Sarpy County Tourism Office there.
Yeah.
They got nice plush seats. They got free pens.
Hopefully they have some seltzer water.
All right, you can order that because Marty told me the other night they're going to have donuts.
Yeah, that's not bubbly water.
Donuts.
That's kind of an odd combination to go with bubbly water and a donut.
I don't want.
Don't mealy mouth me.
You got any bacon?
You can ask for whatever you want. You're a rock star out there.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
There's the Bob Gibson statue, and then there's yours.
Try to be low maintenance in public. I leave the shenanigans to home.
Some people can stop by and say hello. We'll have giveaways.
Just wave.
No. Come in. Grab your favorite pamphlet on what's going on in Sarpy County.
And wager on whether Nebraska will or will not make the Big Ten tournament. I'm gonna say yes because you have no faith.
Just one of 8. I had a lot of faith until this weekend.
Well, I tried to talk you off of it 5 weeks ago.
Lose 2 of 3.
Oh, they're gonna make it to Omaha.
I know. I've changed this weekend. This weekend did me in.
Okay.
Did me in.
You took it all the way down to Minnesota. They have 2 series left.
Did me in this weekend.
And Oral Roberts.
Yeah. I need Oral Roberts to come to town this weekend and lose 2 of 3 to Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha's still only 2 games back of the number 1 spot in the Summer League, but they're
the wheels are a little wobbly.
Yeah. We do have tickets in the last segment. We have tickets to the game tomorrow, Omaha and Creighton. Yes, we do. Just double check. I believe that we do.
This is the one that you wanted to play out in Ogallala.
No, not Omaha, Creighton. That's Creighton, Nebraska. And not Ogallala. It was Hastings.
Wow.
I got a lot. The people have ideas. That may happen. That may happen. No, this one's going to be played downtown at old. I keep calling it TD. The Chuck.
Schwab.
The Chuck. Which they've changed the signage. Yes, we have a pair. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't for us. This is for the Omaha Oral Roberts game. I thought it said on the thing we have Omaha Creighton tickets to give away.
A couple of really good readers.
All right. Well, hold on to that. We'll give that away later. That game isn't until Friday.
He just let you talk too. Come on, Shane.
All right. We'll be back to put a wrap on the show of Sharp and Betting in the morning at 16:20 The Zone. All right, as we put a wrap on the show, we'll have plenty of baseball tickets to give away throughout the week.
If this is a baseball show, it'd be different.
If there's a team at the end of the month that's not playing in the big tournament downtown at the Chuck, this will not be a baseball show.
Yeah, be one of the greater disappointments.
Oh, of the big three?
Yeah, preseason top 28-ish and 25 in one poll.
And not to make a tournament that has 8 teams.
Yeah.
In a league that is not known for that sport.
I get it.
We'll get into this maybe tomorrow. The Ringer has a really interesting story out today about the NFL becoming obsessed with reuniting quarterbacks and their college wide receivers. 5 of the 32 teams now have the quarterback and their number one wide receiver played at the same time. So, of course, it starts with Burrow and Chase. Philadelphia has done the same thing.
Yeah, with Hurts and Devonta.
Mm-hmm.
Just win, There's a lot of those guys.
It's an interesting strategy. I don't think it's by coincidence.
Well, I know that those guys can get guys drafted. They got a lot of stroke.
And familiarity.
You know, it's interesting. We got to get in tomorrow, too. Gene Smith's got some ideas about how to get some regulations and sanctions for NIL. Apparently, they're willing to go to court over it.
There will be lawyers.
I told you it's going to figure itself out. Now, I don't know how feasible this is, but all of a sudden they want to try to get their arms around it.
The NCAA doesn't need to be in my bedroom, and they don't need to be in my college football.
Well, I'm just telling you, like, people aren't going to stand for this very long. It's not sustainable. We'll be all right.
You either adapt or you die.
Or put some rules attached.
Does college football live more in the past and future than in the present?
It is kind of weird, right?
We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6. Is your favorite Mexican place? I travel here, there. Travel to 2 great locations, 75th Pacific and 114th and Dodge, right here in town. All the dishes are made from fresh ingredients, prepared just how you like them, and you know the portions are large. And as you kick off this week, you're thinking you got a case of the Mondays. Best way to cure it? Happy hour, Monday through Thursday, 3 to 5 at both locations of Fernando's, 75th Pacific and 114th and Dodge. As always, home of the $6 margaritas. You can't go wrong when you stop by Fernando's. Plenty of parking, convenient for lunch, for dinner, and convenient if you have an event coming up that you like catered, or you're deciding the day you want to get married and who's going to cater my wedding. It's Fernando's. For more information, log on to fernandosomaha.com.